Cole Custer, Chandler Smith, and the Tennessee Lottery 250's underway.
Chandler Smith, we got a spin. We got a spin back here. Multiple cars hard into the wall.
Allgaier involved in it as well. Ryan Sieg in the 39, we saw him sideways.
We talked about it. This racetrack is slick. Nobody knows how much grip it's got. The first time cars side by side, we saw incidents in qualifying, and now that they're racing, it even is that much slicker.
Pretty decent damage on the left front of the 7, both the rear, the front. No heavy damage like chassis type, but a lot of body works.
Left rears, left sides are running. Don't hit them flat. Just go nice and easy. Get caught up, and we'll come down pit road.
That's Allgaier's new crew chief this year, Jim Holman, giving him the information. He obviously knows their tires are rubbing. You see the smoke, but to go nice and easy, a flat tire would damage the car much, much worse.
We saw so many accidents during qualifying, more than normal, even in the Cup Series, a few cars losing control on this hot and slick racetrack. Yesterday, a lot cooler temperatures, a lot more rubber down on the racetrack there. You see Stephen Parsons crawling out of his car. Good to see after that hard head-on lick into the outside wall. But we saw so much more grip and comfort in these cars yesterday than today. We'll see how this develops down into turn 1. It's like Kyle Sieg gets up into the car on the outside, loses control. Everybody just trying to avoid.
There you go, see 3 wide. A little bit of movement on that middle car of Sieg, then up into 27, and just all this is reactionary to that.
Stephen Parsons, just a hard hit right here. So it gets turned into the outside wall.
Yeah, it's disappointing for Stephen. Came here with a new sponsor, looking for a good day. Look at this right here. Look at this slide by the 27 of Jeb Burton. I don't know how he didn't wreck. That was a great save.
You mentioned it. We'll ride along with Allgaier here. You mentioned it, Steve. Not hard contact with the 7, but definitely that left side contact right there with Parsons. They'll be concerned about what that might have done to the steering linkage and so forth in this car.
Yeah, you see the result as the 7 comes down pit road. It'll come down to the crew. Marty, we'll see what kind of damage. The right rear looks pretty good, right front a little bit, but the left side seems to have the most damage.
Well, Steve, you've been in this situation before. Those extra laps certainly helped Jim Pullman and Justin Allgaier and Eddie DeHaan Spotter to get a good look at it. They're most worried about the left front and where that seam is above where the tire goes. I had this exact conversation with Justin Allgaier this morning. He said the new chassis or new setups they have here in the Xfinity Series this year with the rule changes at the beginning of the year took away some of the feel. He said, so when it goes quick and you just don't know what's going to happen. And I asked him, Junior, does this remind you of Kansas a couple of years ago? Remember those playoff races at Kansas at the beginning of an Xfinity Series race where everybody wrecked like on lap 1? Allgaier said, it's exactly like that. It's gone before you know it.
We've seen it all day long in qualifying, and NASCAR did make some rule changes. It was a detriment to junior motorsports. We've seen a difference yet last year in all the wins we had, and this year only 1 win with this team. But it has made a much more level playing field across the field in the Xfinity Series. The Sieg boys, actually, who were involved in that wreck there, I think they get away with probably the least amount of damage there, Kim.
That's right, but Kyle Sieg very upset with the 27 of Jeb Burton. He immediately came on the radio and shared his displeasure, saying he felt like the 27 should have given him more room, said he pinched him, and they had to kind of calm their driver down, but minimal damage for Kyle Sieg and that car.
I kind of disagree with that, Jeff. When we watched the replay, we'd like to see it again, but it looked just like somebody made it 3 wide underneath Kyle, and Jeb giving plenty of room from what I could tell. Sieg went up the racetrack a little bit into the left rear quarter panel.
Couldn't get a lap in. Caution came out. We'll get the restart when we return.
Welcome back to Nashville Superspeedway here, the Xfinity Series race under caution. We had a wreck early on the very first lap, first corner of the race. Here's the restart. Kyle Sieg in the black and blue car right behind him. A.J. Allmendinger goes to the inside, making it 3 wide. On the top of that is Jeb Burton, who gets contact from Kyle Sieg.
Yeah, it looked like to me Jeb did give enough room. Kyle came up the racetrack a little bit, but look, it's a slick racetrack. You're 3 wide into 1. It's not like anybody did anything on purpose there. Racing happens every now and then, but you know, it's a first lap, and everybody's like, why did that happen? It's not gonna be my fault, and it's just hard racing right off the bat.
I mean, it's a big move by AJ. Slick racetrack, going 3 wide on the bottom into turn 1 on the first restart. A couple younger guys with less experience above you, and AJ doesn't hold the bottom. I know that he probably didn't make Kyle get up the racetrack, but I think that he changed Kyle's plan as far as how he planned to run that corner, and I'm not sure. But what do you guys on the pit box think, Kyle?
Listen, I don't know. This is what I'm going to say. I'm going to say we sit here and we talk about how slick the racetrack is, how careful these guys are going to be, and then they go 3 wide into the first corner. So that shows we don't have a clue what we're talking about, because once they drop the green flag, these guys know early on in a run they've got to get as many positions as they can.
Yeah, I'm going to have to say that Kyle Sieg, who had a great qualifying effort and had a good car yesterday in practice too, that he probably was being more cautious maybe than a lot of others, and maybe more what others needed to be, and probably wasn't expecting to be put in that situation right there, and all he had to do was to go up the racetrack so that he didn't get hit in the left side. So very unfortunate for them and for Stephen Parsons, who looked like he had a good car and wanted to see what he might could do there. So you like to say that everybody's going to be patient, but Kyle, you know, whenever we strap these helmets on as drivers, it's just a lot of that thinking goes out of the way.
Helmet on, brain off. That's the way it was, Marty.
KP, this will be stop number 3 for Justin Allgaier, who hasn't finished worse than second at Nashville since they came back here. Jim Pullman looking over the changes being made. The problem is that the left front fender brace, Steve, it keeps coming down on top of the left front tire. They've already changed tires once, and no matter what they do, they can't seem to get it all the way up and out of the way and cleared from the left front tire. They're getting 2 laps to go right now, so they still have another shot to make repairs on it, but they have tried 3 times now to get this right for the 7 car.
So the composite bodies are very good because they're durable. But think about it, it's kind of like a plastic soda bottle versus a metal can. A metal can dents in, you can dent it back out and it'll hold its shape. But that plastic bottle, or in this case kind of a composite, once it gets kind of smashed in and loses its rigidity, it's gone. Once there's a seam in it, it flaps around. So that's why the bracing is important. So they're going to put some tape on it to try to keep it from breaking up. But, you know, this is leaving pit road at 30, 40, 50 miles an hour. We see 160 miles an hour on the backstretch. Will that fender stay out there, or will it blow or continue to move in next to the tire?
You got to remember, the last driver to win on this racetrack was Justin Allgaier. So much work being done there. Dave.
Rick, I've had my first report today of a cooling system failure. It was from Parker Retzlaff.
Is that cool shirt working? You don't want the answer to that question. So if you start getting hot, what do you want? You want bags of ice?
Yeah, just a bag of ice and the 1 regular water bottle like I do every week. Did it last year here, I can do it again.
I know you can make it. It's not a question. Just want you to fresh at the end.
And of course, that bag of ice can be extremely important when it's not working. They promised to get it fixed for the next race, but that won't help them today. It is hot and humid in Nashville.
You see there, 90 degrees, humidity 43%.
Yeah, I was just down on the Peacock pit box for qualifying, and I'll say there's a little bit of a breeze, but you see inside the Allgaier car 118 degrees, right? I mean, the fans, I think, in the stands are getting some of that breeze, but inside the race car, I think that air can just get really stagnant. There you go. You see a little bit of movement, but this isn't new for Nashville. Last year, it was, I mean, you see post-race. I mean, these are drivers that are well-conditioned. They knew it was going to be hot. They came here hydrated, and it still just really, really got to the drivers. Allmendinger, his feet were on fire.
Going to try this again. So 2 by 2, the field making their way. Back up to the restart zone. It's Cole Custer and Chandler Smith still making up row 1.
Again, on the outside, making it 3 wide. He just witnessed all that. He said, I'm not scared. Jump up there and see what he can make happen, picking up spots.
Little contact right there. Off of turn 2. Ty Gibbs gets put in the fence just a little bit. Now we're 3 wide, multiple rows down into turn 3 for the first time at full speed. We got another spin.
This time it's Austin Hill in the 21 who goes around. And the caution will come back out, and Ryan Sieg spins again in the 39.
This track is treacherous at the moment, and we have not made one clean lap. But to be honest, nobody respected it that lap either. They just saw it, how bad it is, and they dropped the green flag and said, let's go, let's get there as quick as we can and do it again.
That was the first time down into turn 3 at speed. Much more speed than you're carrying into turn 1 on the initial start or the restart. And they're 3 wide for multiple rows. The guys that are behind that have the dirtiest air you could possibly have going into a situation like that. There's Austin Hill looking as low as possible, just trying to get a good idea where he's at, where the corner is. Just gets loose and has to correct the car. You can't do anything but turn right, unfortunately, into the door of the car inside you. That spins you right around. We see it a lot. He dives down into 3 here, Jeff.
This all started off turn 2. Ty made it 3 wide, and it bottled everybody up on the out exit of 2, and then that allowed this to be 3 wide. And then look right here. He drives in the corner and just, boom, immediately the back end comes around.
Old Jeff Burton, his left rear quarter panel is about to tap out. Ain't completed 1 lap. It keeps getting run into over and over by these guys.
I don't know if there was contact there between those 2 cars. There's a tire mark there. I don't know if they got together getting into 3. I initially didn't think so, but that shot made me wonder.
It looked to me like the tire mark, Jeff, was as he was coming up at the correction. You know, the 21 just got there to the bottom, and he had a lane, but barely a lane, Marty. Just barely a width of a car on the entrance to 3.
Well, for what it's worth, Austin Hill said on the radio that the 19, Ty Gibbs, straight up doored me, was what he said. So you can unpack that a little bit, Steve. But there's damage on the left rear, and this race has been insane, and we are just 10 laps in. 2 of the top 3 in the regular season championship standings with trouble here early in Nashville.
I think it's absolutely time for these guys to be reminded, if they haven't figured it out yet, Jeff, by their crew chiefs, by their spotters, they've got a lot of race left. You know, we need to get through several corners here and find a balance of this race car, find a groove. Even if you're in a position where you might give up a few spots. If you're on the bottom of the racetrack, probably not the place you want to be going into turn 3 on a slick racetrack like this. Be conservative, back up a little bit. Even if you lose a spot or 2, I think it's worth it.
Recognize there's some people in this race that it doesn't matter as much what happens today. Ty Gibbs, we just saw him 3 wide on the outside. We saw A.J. Allmendinger 3 wide on the inside. If they end up in the trailer on lap 3, it doesn't matter, but it does to you because we're racing for points. And I need you to be an Xfinity driver racing for points today. That's your role. That's what I'm telling my normal Xfinity guy.
2 cautions early, not even 1 lap complete. Maybe the 3rd time is the charm when we come back. We're going to have you restart here in Nashville, Superspeedway.
NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Progressive. Save when you bundle motorcycle, RV, and boat insurance. Visit progressive.com. Music City, USA, the Country Music Hall of Fame. One of the places you have to visit when you come here to Nashville. And you see the fans out there and enjoying this afternoon. Dale Jr., Jeff Burton giving us a vantage point we haven't seen before. Appreciate that. They're now on their way back up here to the booth.
And Country Music Hall of Fame, Rick. I just got to spend an afternoon in there about a year ago, and it was, I mean, it's mind-blowing, just the history and all the different names. Just a must-see if you come to Nashville.
History of music in the Nashville area really started back before even 1800. Daniel Boone from Nashville, and then on up through the great musicians. As we try again, green flag back out, and 3 wide, maybe 4 wide as they go into turn 1.
Ty Gibbs absolutely not letting the 2 accidents deter him, and that's that black 19 car that took it 3 wide. He's up to second on the backstretch.
Everybody cleanly through 1 and 2 on this restart as they dive into 3. Little side-by-side action there. But more control through 3 and 4. Cole Custer has that top spot. See the 10, A.J. Allmendinger again aggressively trying to go to the inside.
And as we see these clean laps, you can see why 2 and 3 wide gets to be an issue. This is not a track that you go in and you track right around the yellow line. As you see that 16 making a move underneath the 31. You see that kind of go in, although this end of the racetrack, they are pretty stuck to that yellow line. In practice, they seem to be kind of sliding up off from it, using more of the racetrack. We'll see here in 1 and 2. Josh Berry making his way in. You see he enters nice and low and kind of wraps that yellow line, moving the 26 up. Just trying to protect against that. I think that's John Hunter Nemechek on the outside of that white car with the blue numbers.
Here we go again, a battle for 3rd. And a little sketchy down there. The 18 to Sammy Smith looks like he was fighting some grip.
We got another car backed into the fence in the middle of 3 and 4 right here. It's the 91, I believe, of Chad Chastain. We 43. Also see
43 of Ryan Ellis, actually.
Oh, there's another one in the middle of the. There's 2.
Okay.
There's 2. I think they're like separately together.
91. He just drove it in there and he lost it underneath of you. Slid it.
Yeah, I saw the 91. I thought first.
Yeah,
Rick, there's a lot going on, man. I'm not going to lie to you.
There has been. So Ryan Ellis, Chad Chastain, both involved in this caution. Now number 3 already. Cole Custer, and I'm sure Ty Gibbs are thinking, let's just get into a rhythm for a while. Can we get a couple laps in here to where I can feel what my car's doing? Ty Gibbs has been aggressive though in that 19. He's been trying to grab as many spots as he can, using either that high outside line going into 1, or the last time he dove down to the bottom of the racetrack.
All right, we're going to see at the top of the screen, you're going to see that 91. That was the first car I saw come around, and then that's the 43, the yellow and white car coming in loose, very, very high from that angle. All right, we'll take another look. Man, I think just a slight bit of contact. As Chastain was spinning, I think he just barely caught the 43, but it's not like they're out here with a ton of grip. Everybody seems to be driving like it's on ice. So that little bit of contact into the left rear is just enough to either turn the 43 of Ellis or sometimes just accelerate you faster than your car can handle. Either way, both cars spun around. Let's see what kind of contact this 91 had. It was hard to see the first time. If there is contact, it's very light.
Yeah, it looked like he was just very close to that outside wall, maybe not making contact.
And I keep saying Chastain, Chad Chastain.
Younger brother Ross.
It's good to see Chad get a chance here. Use your melon. We've seen that before on Ross's car, so that's a partnership that the Chastain family, the Watermelon Farmers.
Not a lot of options as far as strategy with tires because there aren't a lot of sets of tires here for these guys to change.
Yeah, but the cars that have had issues and had to put a set of tires on, or I think the 7 car used just 2 tires, all of these yellows are kind of catching them up.
3 cautions already from Nashville Superspeedway. Still out front, though, it's Cole Custer. Cole Custer on the inside. Ty Gibbs this time on the outside of row 1. And back up through the gears they go.
Cole Custer in that 00 chose to wait almost to the end of the restart zone. And I think it's going to be 3 wide, or they're going to narrow it down to 2 wide. Ty Gibbs, once again, though, drives deep into the corner in that black car with the yellow 19 on the roof. His teammate right behind him, Sammy Smith.
How about Carson Hocevar in the 77 on the inside? Look at Sammy Smith not giving Carson Hocevar any air at all.
And you see, Rick, great point. That takes all the air away. Hocevar has to lift off the gas. He's now getting pushed down the front straightaway. Lost that position. Sammy taking a risk, though. When he puts his car that tight on the car on the bottom, you are taking a big risk. That car doesn't get loose and collect you both.
Sliding up the racetrack, A.J. Allmendinger in the 10. Slides up in front of Carson Hocevar. Well, now that you guys made it back up into the booth, it looks like things have calmed down on the racetrack. Maybe it was just the excitement of you two being down there.
Doesn't look calm to me.
I'll tell you, it was exciting being down there. I really enjoyed that opportunity to see it from that perspective.
You see right here, Nemechek had to get way out of the gas on the outside because he's on the outside lane and behind Sam Mayer. All the air getting taken off of his car. Now he's going to drive into 3. Kind of the same situation. Not much air on the front of his car on the outside of him. Really takes a lot of grip out of that 20 car.
Sam Mayer in the 1.
Got some good momentum here down the front straightaway, trying to get to the outside of the 31. Can't enter into turn 1 hard enough to stay there, though. 31 up the track. Sam back to the outside. Now we're 3 wide off of turn 2. Nemechek to the bottom.
I think Sam's going to be able to clear both of these cars.
John Hunter in the 20, losing the spot there to Sam Mayer. Kim, we hearing positive things out of Sam Mayer's radio?
Absolutely, and while we haven't had a lot of green flag racing, the restarts have benefited this young driver. Crew Chief Marty Lindley telling him it is the best set of restarts he has had all season, gained so many positions. Remember, he started 34th, currently running in the 11th position. Right now, just a little loose, that back end wanting to dance around is what he's told his team.
These yellows, wild, chaotic, unfortunately caught up the 7 of Allgaier, but his teammate Sam Mayer, it's helped him. Josh Berry in the 8 kind of helped them recover. Nemechek right here, the Toyota onboard camera. You know, he started 21st, and he's all the way up to 12th, so the cycle of restarts have helped some of these guys get some track position.
Everybody right to the bottom is his 20 car trying to work that outside groove. He's going to slide up right here, but he's trying to work that middle groove, trying to work that outside groove. Seeing if he can find some speed. It worked in 3 and 4.
It's just so interesting. You know, last year this racetrack was really wide. Like it was, there seemed to be tons of grip up high, and then we come back this year and it looks like people are sliding around. You never know. You probably prepared all week. You know, crew chief, driver prepared, hey, we can run anywhere. And now it looks like the better lane maybe just locked on the bottom.
Austin Hill moving back to the field after the accident in turn 3 and 4. The damage to the back of that car, I think, you know, when you look at it, how it's kind of moved up a little bit, that's kind of what you want.
I was laughing because I knew where you were going with it. So the rule is you have to have a bumper cover on there because no bumper cover makes better downforce. The rear bumper of this white and blue 21 of Austin Hill, it is clearly there. So I wouldn't fill the hole if I was the team, but it smashed up to the point where the air really exits the back of the car. It could actually be helping, as you pointed out.
Yeah, in a super late model car, you pull that rear bumper up as high as you can to get the air to kind of get out from under you. There you see it. I'm not sure. That thing's pretty tore up. That can't be helping too much. But you wonder sometimes. You see the bumpers of these cars get tore up and guys really pick up some speed. He's also got a little bit of a parachute here on the left side where that quarter panel is pushed out a little bit right at the top of the tire. That can't be helping things either. But he is moving back through the field. Just a great race car driver. More wins than anybody this year. I think he's on the radar of some of these Cup teams when they're looking at drivers coming out of this series. Who are the drivers? We saw Josh Berry get signed. Who's next? I think he's one of the guys they may be looking at. Dave, what you got on this 8 car with Josh Berry?
There is the signee, Junior. He is happy to go to SHR next year in the Cup Series, number 4. As for this qualifying effort from 23rd all the way now up to the 13th position, Josh told me that the whole team got together after qualifying because it seemingly all of them had issues. They got together and said, did we miss something? Are we all looking at the same thing? They agreed that they were looking at different things. They just had different issues together, so there was no inherent problem with all 4 race cars. So Josh said, I'll just drive to the front today. That's what I'm here to do. I'll work at it. Marty?
His teammate Justin Allgaier trying to methodically make his way through the field, and he told his team on the radio, hey, let me handle passing cars. Don't worry about it. Listen in.
Know that if once we get spread out and running, I'll make passes if I need to. Don't feel like you got to get it all on track position on pit stops.
So the other interesting thing about those pit stops, Steve, is that the 7 team and Jim Pullman, the crew chief, requested from NASCAR an extra replacement set of left side tires. Because of that spin earlier, NASCAR declined that request. Why would NASCAR have declined that request, Steve?
Well, it's a great view right here on the Xfinity mobile onboard camera. And Marty, 3 sets of tires are all the tires these Xfinity teams have. And you would think it would just be easy. If you cut a tire, if you bang a tire and tear a sidewall, which is what happened to the 7, NASCAR could just replace it. But the problem is that's easy to say until the 7 comes in and puts a fresh set of lefts on that no one else has. You know, while you want to keep it fair for everyone, what technically is fair? That everybody started with the same set of tires or that you replace a set? I actually, while it will be your driver or your favorite driver that's on the short end of the stick at times, I like the consistency of not allowing extra tires. Everybody has to make their way through the race with the same 3 sets.
Yeah, so when you start giving somebody a set of tires for, you know, trying to help them out because they got in a bad situation, then that puts everybody else in a bad situation. Nobody wins in that except for the team that got helped, and it's just no way to police it. NASCAR said they were not going to be in that business anymore. It's the right call.
If that was the case, Jeff, I'd have you trying to spin that thing out at Darlington about halfway through a run. Give me a fresh set of tires.
Well, a few years ago we saw that. A few years ago, somebody spun early. They gave a set of tires, and they drove all the way to the front on that set of tires.
Couple battles, top of the screen. Sam Mayer getting by Parker. Kligerman. Then on the bottom, the battle for 14th. Allgaier keeps that over Austin Hill. Austin Hill a little bit quicker than the 7 right now. But we're starting to see this racetrack get wide. You're starting to see people start to move the top of the racetrack, not to defend positions, but actually to find more pace.
It's going to be a big test for Parker Kligerman. I saw him down there during qualifying, and I was going to go talk to him. He waved me off. Said, man, I have something, a stomach bug. I'm not sure what. I've taken 2 bags of IV. I just don't feel good. I didn't rest overnight, so we talk about the heat. It's going to be tough for everybody. I can't imagine being under the weather, right? Losing that hydration and then trying to put this grind in, Kim. It's going to be a real test. 188 laps in the heat for Parker Kligerman in this 48.
Yeah, it has to be miserable. I saw him too, but from a distance like you. He said he got 2 IVs this morning to help with his hydration. Checked in with him right before he got in the car. He gave me a thumbs up. He said, I'm doing as best as I possibly can be, knowing I only got like an hour or 2 of sleep. So Parker currently running in the top 10 after what was a miserable night for him.
I wish him all the best health-wise. I will give him good-looking race car. Yeah. Giving out some awards for good-looking race cars this week, and this orange and white 48.
I've been in that situation before where you're sick, feel horrible, hot day, and you know, you get in this race car and it's a bit intimidating. You just, once you get in that car, man, you go somewhere else. You just start focusing on driving that race car and your brain just goes there. And it actually is a diversion for a little while for how bad you feel. The caution comes out and you start feeling bad again. But it's really the best thing for you. A good battle going on right here.
Sheldon Creed in this red and white number 2 car struggling just a little bit, falling back through the top 10. See those 4 cars right behind him, all of them waiting for an opportunity to get by. Look at Austin Hill going to the top of the 7 back there. Austin Hill trying to take this position. He's got Allgaier on the bottom, probably in the more vulnerable position. The 9 trying to get by the 2 out in front of this battle. It's a good little pack of cars here. Good little action happening. Brandon Jones gets clear of the 2.
Sheldon Creed sucks back up to the back of that 9, but it was teammates that were battling just moments ago where Brandon Jones and the 9 dropped down and blocked the 8 of Josh Berry.
Looks like Creed has a little bit of trouble on corner entry. It looks like he's got to back his entry up a little bit. Can't drive in the corners deep in some other ones, or he's trying to do that and try to go to the gas sooner. But looks like on corner entry is where people really beat up on him.
Are you surprised that the 7 and the 21 are running as well as they are after both being involved in accidents to start this race?
Not really. I think, you know, the 8 here's got to defend, 21's got to run. He wants the top. He really doesn't want to pass this 8 low. He's going to go down there, though. Going to put his car on the bottom of the racetrack. It's going to be difficult to make this pass. It's going to come off of turn 2. Going to be able to side draft a little bit to be able to stay there, maybe get back even with Josh Berry going into 3. Battle for 3rd, top of the screen. Sammy Smith gets that 10 car AJ Allmendinger a little bit loose off the corner.
Back to this battle for 12th. You can see what Allgaier did. He went to the outside with Josh Berry, hoping to pin the 21 on the bottom, not able to get there in time.
And you see the 21 drive up the track to defend the 7 coming high because he doesn't want anybody on his outside. We're starting to see this track really become high line dominant. Here comes Austin Hill. He wanted to get up there. He tried to give it a little too much gas. Lost the back of the car.
And clear with that 7 car if you're a spotter.
Not clear.
Well, he's not clear now, but he was.
Carson Hocevar has come into the picture on the top of your screen in that battle for 3rd in the 77.
See that little move right there. Spotter being more aggressive, Justin being more aggressive, jumping up in front of that 21 down the back straightaway, and he doesn't lose his spot.
Hocevar with a great run around the outside of Sammy Smith here for 4th place. I'm telling you, they're moving this groove up. They're moving it up and finding a lot of speed. Still a lot of cars on the bottom of 3 and 4, but a lot of people, especially from like 4th, 5th on back in the field, using the top of this racetrack at both ends. I love it, man. This place, I'm telling you, when they talked about bringing us back to Nashville Superspeedway, I was unsure because it had been in the past a single groove racetrack. It has been nothing but that for all of its existence. And now, look at this racetrack, how wide it is, how incredible the racing is now. So much fun to watch, Dave.
So much fun to watch. Hocevar way up in the high line there, but he knows the track. Since last night, he was a Truck Series winner. I know the vehicles are very different, but I wanted to know about track knowledge when I talked to him today. He said, absolutely. I feel a lot more confident about where to put this 77 car today because I knew where to put the 42 truck last night. And you could see him right there. He was higher than anybody else that last time by through 1 and 2.
I don't know if asphalt ages like we talk about, or concrete ages in the way that asphalt does. You know, asphalt racetracks wear out, get wore out, cars wide, you know, the groove widens out. I don't know about concrete. We don't have enough of those racetracks to really know the truth about that. But the resin that they put down on this racetrack from the bottom to the top, I believe, is what makes the racing here so great.
Hocevar's taken a new line. It's not dark up there. He's trying to go in an area that people haven't been yet, as we're on the final lap of stage 1. Out front of this field, there's the 19 on the top of your screen, Ty Gibbs. Steve, you mentioned at the top of the show, there have been 11 different winners in the last 11 races. And by the way, Ty Gibbs is not one of those. So as he's out front here in stage 1 and looks as though he's going to win stage 1 pretty handily, he could be throwing his name into the hat for possibly making it 12 for 12. He'll take stage 1 and the win. Cole Custer finishing second in that stage. Third stage win already this year. Just his 4th start for Ty Gibbs.
Sam Mayer all the way up to 8th after starting outside the top 30. That a very impressive first stage for the 19-year-old driver of the 1.
After a chaotic start to this race, stage 1 in the books. A couple Siegs sliding in tandem. But in the end, Ty Gibbs gets the stage 1 win. NASCAR gives you a great way to follow all the action with free live scoring, in-car cameras, as well as a radio broadcast. It's their official app. Search NASCAR in your app store to download and start a free trial today. As we look down from our aerial coverage, brought to you by Pods. Moving this summer, save up 30% at pods.com today. Field behind the pace car.
Well, it was a very chaotic beginning. Then a nice little green flag run there at the end of stage 1. And you mentioned Ty Gibbs and Custer. They were up front. It's going to be a little bit different, though, for like the 21 of Hill, who has recovered, but he's going to have to make some decisions on tires. The 7 of Allgaier, you know, can he only put a couple tires on? Now they have to find a way. I think their cars are kind of put back together. Now they have to find a way to kind of put the rest of the race together, being a little bit behind.
Is this a situation where on this stop would you do just the 2 right side tires for that 7?
Well, so the answer is yes, because you have to take your medicine as soon as you can take it. The problem is, you know, it's going to be about a 40-lap run. You wouldn't think it would be such a disadvantage you would get lapped, but that's your concern, losing track position or even losing a lap. Now, you know, we'll see. Maybe the right side tires are enough to keep them competitive, but it's definitely going to be a disadvantage to the field.
Beautiful day to be at the racetrack, and so many of the fans having fun. We'll go down to pit road and Kim.
And Cole Custer, that top left, complaining about both ends of the race car, asked the team to put the back more in the track, but also give more turn in the right. So chassis adjustment there, air pressure to help the front end of that race car, Dave.
Reigning series Ty Gibbs, champion Ty Gibbs comes in. He wants an adjustment, a little free in and off, a little tight in the center. Carson Hocevar, meanwhile, no real chassis adjustments, just slightly. He's been making adjustments on the track, Marty.
A.J. Allmendinger, one of the fastest cars at the end of stage 1. He said he's fighting the right rear, though, just needs more rear stability overall. You see Justin Allgaier is going to make that actually 4-tire stop, but Austin Hill first off pit road because, Steve, yes, they are indeed down a set of tires, so no new Goodyear tires for Austin Hill at the end of stage 1.
Not a bad race off of pit road. We saw the fans dancing inside the grandstands and having a good time because the heat is making everybody feel pretty good here at the racetrack. All right, let's go to the Peacock pit box, and Kyle Petty and DJ, are you guys feeling the heat?
You think? Yes.
I know.
Yeah. Sun's right at our back here. I can't imagine what these drivers are going through. I mean, we can remember back to those days that you had days like this inside that race car. It's not a lot of fun, but you got a job to do.
Yeah, and we've heard them all say it. They knew it was going to be hot. They knew it was happening. A couple of guys, we heard that their cold suits weren't working. I feel for Parker Kligerman to get in this car, to have 2 IV bags put into him, to be sick and have to sit in there. But it's a gradual heat. I don't know how to explain that to people. It's almost hotter for us sitting here because we're not doing anything. We're watching the race. They are working it. They block it out of their mind. They're able to focus on where they're at. What is it, 128?
Yeah.
I can't see the thing here. But
128.
That's incredible. But they didn't just get in a car that was 128. It gradually got there. And you know how it is. You focus on what's in front of you.
Yeah, you do. And I think it's interesting to see that first stage. The 3 guys that finished 1, 2, 3 all have Cup experience, and you bring that here on a hot, slick racetrack means a lot to have that experience of being in the Cup cars.
And now in front of the field is going to be the 21 of Austin Hill. He was on pit road a couple times, obviously, to make repairs to that car, so he decided to stay out to get the track position.
He doesn't have any tires. You can't take a set of tires, so he's going to restart this stage on old tires, and that's 29 laps of green flag on these tires, and he is going to be in the way, for lack of a better word, when this thing starts. I'll be surprised if he's able to hold his own, and nobody wants to get trapped behind him. If he's fading backwards, and it's particularly on the inside, man, you do not want to find yourself trapped behind this car. So the spotters need to be paying attention, helping the drivers understand where this 21 is going to line up, how that might convince them to do otherwise, or where they may need to be on these restarts.
Well, they're coming to the choose. So let's see. He went to the bottom. See where everybody goes.
A few have decided to take that opportunity to get closer to the front, but they will be behind the 21. And the crowd great today, a sellout for tomorrow's race, for the Cup race here tomorrow evening. So a lot of these fans that are here for the Xfinity race today will be back for the Cup Series race tomorrow, and it is a sellout, Kim.
That's right, and during our countdown to green coverage, we talked to John Hunter Nemechek, who said they had a lot of work to do after missing in qualifying, starting 21st. Well, they were moving forward, but just got hit with a penalty. Too many men over the wall, so they will restart deep in the field. Got more work to do if they want to see the front, Dave.
Kim, Riley Herbst will start 4th in line on the outside in the black 98 car. His crew chief that was promoted to the Cup Series this week, so he has a new crew chief. I asked him what all that was like for him this week. He said extremely challenging. He's handling the challenge well so far with a fast race car, Marty.
Boy, Dave, talk about a challenge. No fresh Goodyear tires for Austin Hill. Andy Street, his crew chief, just told him a moment ago, he said, hey, just do the best you can. And by the way, Steve, those are scuffed right side tires on the 7 car. They did only take 2.
Stage 2 underway.
Green.
It'll be tough for this 21 to launch on these old tires. There you see it, 3 wide. Cole Custer knows this is his move. He backs off. Down in the turn, contact. The 19's around.
21 up the racetrack, caught the 19. Caution comes out again. And Carson Hocevar in the 77 also involved.
The 10.
AJ Allmendinger slides sideways.
Yeah, big contact with the 77 into the door of the 19.
We talked about the old tires and the disadvantage that would be.
That left front not looking good, Steve.
No, I believe this is going to be terminal for the 77. Something's broken in the upper end of the suspension. You see all the body damage. You know, it's easy. You saw the 19 as well. Left front completely bent in. Yes, Dave.
Hey, Steve, he reported to his crew, track bar broken. We are done.
Yep, I believe the 19, the 77 are going to be done. The 10 looks more just some superficial. The left rear definitely had some sort of contact. The yellow's gone. Guys, let's take a look. The 21 starts on the bottom, and the 10 or the 0 looks 3 wide.
He looks 3 wide, but the 21 goes down in the corner and just doesn't have the grip. He's so loose, he cannot turn the wheel left to drive the car around the bottom of the corner. Drives up the racetrack right into the door of the 19.
Yeah, just those old tires and not really understanding maybe the pace he can carry in there. He hasn't restarted with old tires before, you know, and so he drove in there, just miscalculated the amount of grip he was going to have. See the damage of that 10 car, right rear quarter panel. Here it is, watch Austin Hill. Gets to the bottom, and immediately he's in trouble. Up the hill he goes and into the 19.
Yeah, he turned down in the corner. The car pitched loose as soon as he started left into the bottom. Right there. And you're right, Jeff, just going into the corner, not understanding just how hard he could go into that corner. How many times has he been into this corner on a restart on 29-lap tires? Probably not very often. Not a lot of information for him there. Let's listen to some in-car here from the 7.
Trying to put the 21 3 wide. Spinning ahead. Stay where you are. Go. Inside, up.
The 10, I saw the contact, but unfortunately he gets turned around. Right rear corner hits the wall for AJ. Look at that. That's what breaks the track bar. That shot right into the left rear tire for the 19, shears off all the suspension, holding that rear end in place as Hocevar goes behind the wall. There's Ty Gibbs out of the car.
Unfortunate, you guys were mentioning you wouldn't want to line up behind the 21 because you thought they would have held you up, but lining up on the outside of him, he just went in a little too hot into turn 1. Up the racetrack he went.
Yeah, he was just in a bad position and not, you know, on them old tires, what are you going to do? You know you're not going to be able to get down in the corner as hard as you want to, but you certainly don't want to get run over either, right? You don't want guys stacking into the corner, running to the back of you. Just a bad position for everybody to be in there.
That's Grandpa, by the way, talking to him, Joe Gibbs. Marty.
Well, I thought the chaos wasn't coming until next week at Chicago, but it's shown up here in Nashville. You see AJ Allmendinger trying to get caught up to the back of the field and come back down pit road. He said, I thought I had that missed. I was trying to wait and be patient to see where the hole might open up. I gassed it up and just barely caught it at the end. But the good thing is, Steve, he said the steering wheel is straight. I think we're still in this thing.
Yeah, I don't see really any damage to either front fender. Both front tires still have the yellow, the Goodyear writing. The left rear looked to be the one that made any sort of contact. Also a little damage on this right rear quarter panel. They're going to want to get that fixed just because of its significance to the aerodynamics when you enter the corner.
Five cautions already to start off this Xfinity Series race from Nashville Superspeedway. This time taking out race leader Ty Gibbs. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Credit One Bank, the credit card company. And make sure you don't miss the pulse-pounding, non-stop action of Monday Night Raw, featuring WWE superstars such as Cody Rhodes and Bianca Belair. It's Monday Night Raw, live at 8, 7 Central, right here on USA.
Went to one of those wrestling matches live, man. I'd never been to one of those. Pretty fun.
Bianca, I took her for a ride, race car last year. That was fun.
How about that ride?
I've been a wrestling fan my whole life, but that was my first time. It was cool.
Kim did a fine job of riding the mechanical bull, and that guy got bucked off. Let's go check in with Kim.
And a guy doing a fine job on the racetrack, Cole Custer, currently P1, but making some decisions on where to choose to restart. And with his teammate Riley Herbst in fourth, there was some conversation. Take a listen.
I don't have a problem with it. I mean, the only problem is that one man. He's pretty unpredictable. Yeah, I mean it's hard to make decisions when off of other people, though. I guess is the problem. I don't know. I think.
So you heard that, and they continued saying likely, depending on how Sam Mayer and Chandler Smith chose, Riley would end up behind Cole. Cole saying he likely will elect to pick the top. They said they were confident in his decision as long as he felt comfortable.
Cole got used to the predictable nature of the Cup Series, and he's back in the Xfinity Series where things aren't quite as straightforward.
And the team calling out young Sam Mayer.
That's just how drivers talk. I mean, you know, like,
we all do.
Like everybody around you is crazy. They don't know what
I never said anything bad about you, though.
Yeah, I got it recorded.
I remember watching some races with you guys when you said you actually worked together. So that's
don't encourage him.
Unwillingly.
Yeah, don't encourage him.
That was no other alternative.
Well, it was no one or him. I guess I'll help him.
So Sam Mayer will be on the inside of Cole Custer for this restart. Cole Custer is the control car as he is the leader. Chandler Smith, Riley Herbst, and Sheldon Creed all in the top 5.
It is an interesting and difficult decision on where to pick. Normally on this size racetrack, you'd always pick the top. But early in this race, the bottom was the way to go. But we've seen that groove start to move around. But this is the first restart since we feel like the outside's gotten better.
And with the 19 out of the way, one of the best cars in this field, the whole perplexity of this race has changed.
Cole Custer, he'd like to be known as one of the best cars in the field. He brings them back to the start.
Green flag, green flag.
31 laps to go.
Contact!
And are they going to settle it?
My goodness. Just hard-headed young race car drivers. You're not going to cut me off. Riley Herbst, there's some, looks like some smoke or some debris there. Dust off of turn 2 from the accident before. But Riley Herbst and Sammy Smith arguing over who had the right of way into turn 1. That was fun to watch.
From our perspective.
Yeah, luckily, you know, there was no crash. Looked like Herbst was getting ready to get turned around there.
Allgaier up into the top 10.
Somebody in the wall out here.
And sliding and up back into the wall again goes Connor Mozak in the 24. Yeah, he had issues.
Right rear going down or something.
He had issues early in the corner.
Got up high into the dirt. Thinks he had maybe a left rear tire going down, but chased it for a really long time. Eventually, car swings back around, overcorrects into the outside wall, driver's side first. There he is, top of the screen, getting loose up the track.
Yeah, that's one of those where, you know, we used to have drivers meetings, and NASCAR would always tell us, if ever car starts doing this, just crank the wheel to the left and lock it down. And Connor fighting it all the way, got the wheel turned back to the right, and ends up driving all but head on in the wall.
You talked about the disagreement between the 98, the black monster car, and that 18 of Smith. You see to the top, to the bottom, and then the block by the 98. Actually, it's a pretty decent damage on the right front fender of Sammy Smith.
That is true. So the 98 goes high. Sammy makes a move to the top. 98 goes high. Sammy goes to the middle. 98 blocks him again. That's when a driver says enough is enough. You know, you block me once, I get it. You can't go everywhere I go.
Listening to Allgaier.
And cut. Right with you. Half a half. On the mid, 3 wide. Coming up top also. 3 wide.
The big benefactor in all of that was Zane Smith in that white and blue 28 car. He had gotten to the outside and everybody else lifted, said, oh, this is going to be a wreck. And Zane said, no, I'm going to keep going. And he got about 6 or 7, if not 8 spots through that whole exchange just because everybody got checked up and he was in that outside lane. He kept digging.
He's got all the ingredients to have an incredible day today. Ran in the truck race last night, knows this track really well. This is a Sieg car with a Stewart-Haas support. Had some good speed in practice, drove through the field today, doing some great things. Definitely an opportunity for him to run in the top 5, if not even compete for the win. He puts it all together. Marty.
Junior, what did Sammy Smith say about the contact with Riley Herbst? Listen in on the radio.
Don't Riley, my bad. I didn't mean to really do that. I'll tell him. I'll walk him down to. Yeah, it was kind of. It's not very good thinking. I thought I could do it, but.
Boy, Jeff, for a 19-year-old driver, you got to give Sammy Smith credit to say, hey, that was my bad. I will know how to do it better next time.
Yeah, it's good to communicate, you know, just hard racing. You see the right front fender damage. You wonder how much that's going to hurt the performance of this car, but you know, that's what this series is about. Young race car drivers out there pushing, trying to make something happen. You see the 7 car on pit road again.
Yeah, coming down in 11th right now, so giving up that track position. He said, and I quote, I don't know if you've ever been this, Jeff, I am a 35 out of 10 tight. So they're going to just make a chassis change here. Boy, look at that chassis adjustment on the 7 car. Also, A.J. Allmendinger coming down, taking advantage of this after the contact a moment ago to get the car buttoned up a little bit better and fresh right side Goodyear tires as well.
Marty, you mentioned the 7 car of Allgaier, though, putting on scuffed tires. You have to also think about that, Steve, as far as the balance of this car. How much are you willing to make an adjustment on a car where you know you're not on the right cycle with the rest of the field on tires?
Well, that's the biggest challenge, right? Because now is it the damage? Is it the body? Is it the aero? Is it the scuffed tires? There are so many more variables in your equation to your car setup that's one of the other big disadvantages. I mean, it's obviously talk about the speed of the car, but say this car still has all the potential, Rick. You know, there are 2 or 3 adjustments behind the rest of the field because there's so many other things they're trying to guess on how it's affecting the handling.
And we saw Ty Gibbs, who was leading when the last caution came out and got taken out. He's currently standing by with Dave.
Yep, Rick, he was fast, and he was aggressive, too, earlier in the day, but another driver got aggressive and took you out. What do you make of it?
Yeah, it definitely is frustrating. Sorry. Just not a good spot to be in there. I feel like we were really fast, just got cleaned out. Just part of it. Sorry, I swallowed a little Monster Energy down the wrong hole here, so I'm struggling a little bit, but besides that, good. He gets us. Toyota Supra was very fast. Thinking he gets us. We'll move on. Hopefully a lot of people can learn a lot of things from the first 55 laps of this race. And
it was crazy.
Yeah, it was. So, you know, it sucks that we have a torn up race car. I feel like we would have had a shot, but we'll keep going, and appreciate the opportunity from He Gets Us in Toyota. Thank you to everybody, Tyler Gibbs, Jack Irving, everybody back there, Paul, and all the hard work they give, and my crew chief, Jason.
Best of luck tomorrow in the Cup Series race. Glad he's okay, guys.
Double duty for Ty Gibbs. He'll have another one tomorrow in front of a sold-out crowd here at Nashville Superspeedway. I want to go back to what Sammy Smith said. I think it was not just being smart, or not just, you know, saying, hey, I apologize. It was being very smart, because he knows he's going to be racing right next to Riley Herbst the remainder of this race. He doesn't want Riley Herbst to retaliate and race him harder. So, hey, go tell him I'm sorry. Go tell him I didn't mean to do that, because I don't want him to come back after me. Jockeying for position as they go into 1, 3 wide again back there in 4th.
3 wide down the straightaway here into the 3rd turn. Sammy's going to back out of that. Gets back 2 wide. Sam Mayer on the outside here, trying to control the field here. Down the front straightaway, 3 wide, Chandler Smith. The 0-0, Cole Custer. What's going to happen here?
Smith surging ahead on the inside in that 16. Mayer on the outside trying to hold on to that 2nd spot.
Chandler tries to get away from the side draft here down the back straightaway, not allow Mayer back up on the outside, and he does it. Clears him into 1, clears him into 3, I'm sorry.
So Chandler Smith out front. Cole Custer still fighting back, trying to get that 2nd spot away from Mayer.
Don't overdo it. It'll come to you. Still in there with the trailer. Go ahead.
Riley Herbst in the 98, right up to the back bumper of that 0-0 of Cole Custer.
That takes the air off the back of that car, Rick. That 0-0 gets loose. He has to back out of it, give the spot up to Sam Mayer. Now they're side by side for 3rd.
Herbst on the move. Herbst still looking for his first ever win in the Xfinity Series.
It's a good run for Riley Herbst. Started the year out really well. Top 10s in each of the first 6 races. And then it's been a struggle since then. Riley Herbst strong so far.
3 wide down into turn 1. Oh, we got a spin. Sammy Smith's in the wall.
And Sheldon Creed looked like got into the back of him.
Brandon Jones collected. Tears the left front fender off of the 9 car. He was trying to find a way through that.
Turn 1 has been the trouble spot all day.
The race anywhere out there seems this is the most chaos I think we've seen the entire year.
So watching these cars down the front straightaway, the 2 and the 18, side by side, side drafting, Sheldon Creed on the inside. They go down into turn 1. Can't wait to see the replay to be able to analyze exactly how it went down. But good hard racing down the front straightaway. Escalated into turn 1. The 2's trying to side draft a little bit here. He's got the momentum. The 18 down in the corner, right on his door. 2 gets loose, up the track. Oh, I talked about it earlier. When you go down into the corner, we know this track is really low on grip. And when you race down in the corner right on somebody's door, you're taking a big risk. Trusting that that guy can control his car and keep it low. Sheldon not able to do that in that situation.
And Brandon Jones in that 9 car, he can't catch a break this year. There is nothing that's gone right for them. Look at this. He's here minding his own business. They start wrecking in front of him. He tries to get slowed down and just nothing to do.
You mentioned Brandon Jones. Take a look again. Just no opening big enough for him to slide through. So he's collected. The left front fender torn apart on Brandon Jones's number 9. Chandler Smith out front here. History will be made in a week. That's right, the inaugural race on a street course for the first time ever. The Chicago Street Race. Saturday it'll be the Xfinity Series. Sunday, the Cup Series. And we're doing this one radio style once again, and you will get familiar with the streets of Chicago. The race starts on Columbus Drive, and they'll head straight at turn number 1. Will they make the left-hand turn? Mike Bagley will be there to make that call as we do this one radio style once again. Then they'll go down the Sauble Lakeshore Drive to Dale Earnhardt Jr. in turn 4. Michigan Avenue. When they come back, Columbus to Michigan Avenue, there will be Jeff Burton. And Steve, you and I have a nice little seat on Columbus to kind of take it all in. And Grant Park's so beautiful. The Peacock Pit Box will be right there next to Buckingham Fountain. And all the fans are just going to, it's going to feel like for the fans that they have an all-access pass, because they will be right in the middle of all of the action, no matter where they are watching this race.
Yeah, between Lakeshore and Columbus is that big open field. Well, it's not a field anymore. We were up there. The stage is assembled. So many good music acts. I mean, it's going to be a full weekend of not just racing, but entertainment, right in the heart of one of the greatest sports cities in the country. I can't give it the greatest. It's one of the greatest. I'm not going to put them in order. I get a lot of social media hate, but I mean, it's an amazing city with an amazing history, and to think that we're going to see stock cars for the first time on the streets, I would have never guessed Lakeshore Drive right out, right inside Chicago.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see what happens in terms of, like, every time we do anything new in this sport, there's consequences, unintended consequences, and things that you don't prepare for. There'll be things that these cars experience that they've never experienced before, creating all types of issues. Can't wait to see what challenges these teams and drivers, Kim.
And you see Brandon Jones on pit road right now for the second time. The first time they had to cut away the left front of that composite body. Right now, changing all 4 tires due to a flat spot. But I asked Brandon this morning, kind of, give me an idea of what your season's been like. He said there's been little mistakes all season, but really it's been bad luck more than anything. We've had speed, and that's why we're not trying to rewrite the whole year and do something totally different. And that bad luck, though, continuing here in Nashville for Brandon Jones. Marty?
Little tape on the left rear for Sheldon Creed. Bottom of your screen, as you see, they're really in here, though, to check the right front. That's their biggest issue. Steve, I find it fascinating what these crew chiefs are having to do. So Jeff Stankiewicz is having to trust Sheldon Creed when he says, hey, I know you spun on this set of tires. Did you spin bad enough to flat spot them, or will you be good? Because they can't afford to put on a fresh set of Goodyears right now, so they're leaving the tires that he spun with on the racetrack on the race car.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're not even halfway yet in this race. You see, though, only 17 laps to go in the upper left in stage 2. I think that's kind of the key, is anybody that's having tire issues or tire count issues, if you can somehow nurse your disadvantage to the end of stage 2, that should kind of reset the field. And I think that will be a big advantage for these guys to kind of get on the same strategy as everyone else. We see here, I think we're coming to the choose again. This time we're going to have the 16 of Chandler Smith take the bottom, give Sam Mayer the top.
Be a pretty good birthday present for Sam Mayer if he was able to find victory lane here. He turns 20 on Monday.
Now a slick track gets even slicker with a speedy dry and everything required for the cleanup.
All these caution laps also are picking up a lot of rubber that's been laid down. Whatever's been put down in the short amount of green flag laps we've had, Steve, gets picked up, and this track gets slicker and slicker every caution.
Let's listen into Chandler Smith's radio.
One of them days, man, it's going to be all about discipline. These guys are just chasing up into the guy outside of him, Rick, so be mindful of that all day.
Yeah, I'd like to just stay right here. Let's just do that. That'd be the easiest thing.
I'm 100% on board with that.
I think that's so. Jeff, you say it and you put it very well in all of our meetings that we forget, because they're professional race car drivers, just how young the field is in general, right? This is the feeder series. These are young race car drivers trying to move up, right? I mean, Chandler Smith, 20 years old. Sam Mayer turns 20 on Monday. And now this race is anything but normal, right? The chaos is one thing to kind of consume and to cover, but as a crew chief, as a race car driver, how's your car drive? How do you know? I mean, we've been stop, start, so you just don't know about the balance, the track, as Dale Jr. pointed out, the conditions continue to change. It's really hard to settle in.
There'll be 15 laps remaining in stage 2 once they get the green flag, and they're about to do that.
Tight with you. Tight with you.
Sam Mayer with momentum on that high line, but it's Chandler Smith in the 16 up the racetrack. Riley Herbst tries to catch it, and while he does that, the 11 of Daniel Hemrick moves to the inside.
They're 3 wide for a moment there, but 3 wide behind him now. 31 to the inside of the 25. Parker takes that position away.
John Erickson checking that white 20 all the way on the apron, working his way back. He had a penalty.
He had a penalty, and they were also looking at the front of that race car like there might have been some damage, might have hit some debris through all these accidents around the grill area. He made repairs to get him back out there and competitive. Looks like they did a good job fixing that 20.
Second car on the inside, a different name we haven't mentioned yet today. Brett Moffitt in that 25 car, kind of a gray hood, orange roof right there. A new team for Brett Moffitt this season, and I talked to him earlier. He just had a lot of good things to say about it, right? With not one moment during the year, but week in and week out, thought they were making gains as the very tough racing continues. 2 wide, almost 3 wide on the exit of 2.
You brought up Brett Moffitt, and just this past week, heavy hearts for Brett Moffitt and the Malacote family. Tim Malacote, who was a mentor, a friend, sponsor, passed away at just the age of 60. He was the CEO of Rasmussen Group, a construction company based in Des Moines, Iowa. But Brett Moffitt putting out his condolences for the Malacote family, a very close friend of his.
Good little battle here for second. Cole Custer looks like he's a little bit quicker than Sam Mayer right here. Just cannot get by. That's a tough pass to make on the bottom of the racetrack. Sam's not giving him a whole lot of room down there.
Custer was looking to the inside, but Sam Mayer closing the door once they came out of turn 4. That fight for second continuing. Cole Custer hugging the yellow line. Parker Kligerman to the inside of Ryan Sieg on the bottom of your screen.
As we look at closing in on 10 to go in stage 2, this stopping and starting in the race have been very broken up. I think these last 10 laps right here could be very important for all of these drivers to get a good feel of their race car. You know, if this race does kind of clean up and we get some longer green flag runs, you don't have a lot of adjustments left. I mean, even though there's a lot of laps left, end of stage 2 you're going to pit, and sometime in the final stage you're going to have to put some fuel in. So probably only 2 more chances to adjust your car. This clean running for 10 laps could be a real difference maker on who makes the right adjustments.
Kligerman still fighting for that 10th spot, trying to take it away from Sieg.
Good job by Sieg to get back up to the field after an accident on the very first lap of the race in this 39 car on the outside. Artie, you're with Sammy Smith.
Yeah, let's chat with him, Junior, who had a great run going. What happened in your accident, and are you surprised the racing has been so chaotic today, Sammy?
Yeah, for sure. I'm not sure. I feel like I gave him plenty of room and he got free and kind of just hooked it right. But yeah, just thanks to Pilot Flying J, TMC, Allstate Peterbilt Group, Golden Harvest, Toyota, everybody that gets us fast race cars. We just lost some track position there, and that hurt us.
Coming to the end of stage 2, Sammy Smith's day obviously over, Rick.
Unfortunate is John Hunter Nemechek out there in front of Zane Smith, the 20 and the 28.
See, this battle rages on. Daniel Hemrick in that 11 car. He's had a bit of a tough year as well. It's good to see him up front.
Yeah, Hemrick currently running in the 4th spot now behind Custer.
Sam had a terrible turn 1 and 2 there up the racetrack. Now it's going to give Custer an opportunity to get by. He does.
Hemrick also looking to the inside.
Sam back to the inside. Little crossover move here.
Yeah, I feel like Custer drove into turn 3 really deep. Just kind of overdrove it a little bit. I feel like he just wants the outside. It feels like if he ever got the outside, he would clear. Let's see if it works out.
While those two are fighting for position, here comes Hemrick to the inside. 3 wide now for that 2nd spot.
And these guys are on the edge of control.
Hemrick to the inside of Mayer. Mayer up high. Hemrick up to 3rd now.
So a good smart move right there by Hemrick. A lot of discipline to just get that left front tire on that yellow line. He didn't overdrive it. That's where all the grip is. People run the bottom. Don't kind of run it. See Hemrick right there? Just painting that yellow line with his left side tires.
And he's making time down there. Everybody else using the top of the racetrack for speed. This 11, I think he's better on the bottom of 1 and 2. See how he does down here. He's not going to be able to run the bottom. The 00 takes his line away. So he chooses right then on the transition to the turn to run a different groove. It cost him a little bit of speed there.
See that one car behind the 11? He got really loose on corner exit.
Look at the run though. They get off the top of the turn 4 down the front straightaway. Maybe Hemrick's like, man, this thing works pretty good up here. Might want to keep running that line.
Custer took his line away, and so Daniel Hemrick has decided to choose a different line. And every time those two go in opposite directions, the one of Mayer trying to find some clean air. Kim?
Although Mayer coming on the radio and saying he's just way too loose, can't really do anything. They reminded him this car is better on the long run. Just stay focused, as Stam currently running in the 4th position behind Daniel Hemrick.
It's been a tough first 2 stages if you have a long run car, because we just have not seen the long runs today.
I think that's a great point, Steve, and Kim talking to him about that. That's really important. It's a long way to go in this race. It's still over 100 laps to go. And recognize you do have a good race car. It's not as good as you want it, but it's good enough. We just make a little change, you can get that win.
You can see as he's lost these positions, he was the lead car of this group. Now that he's behind Hemrick and the 00, he's made some adjustments to his entry, his throttle points, and he's found some reasonable speed to not allow these guys to get away just yet.
Dale, you think there's any chance if he is fighting free that his car just tightens up a little bit in traffic? Or do you think he'd just lose overall grip?
You would think you'd lose overall grip, but sometimes, you know, you will get a little bit tighter behind cars, so if you are loose, that balance shift could help you out just a little bit. But you can see now there's a little bit of a space between them. So he's going to start to get that downforce and that free balance coming back to the car as he's under pressure from the 98 of Herbst.
Yeah, Riley Herbst has come into the picture as well, running in the 5th position. Chandler Smith pulled away. He has almost 2.5 seconds between himself and Custer as they're coming up on 1 lap to go in stage 2. There's the gap.
And as hard as they're racing right here for 2nd, 3rd, and 4th, I'm telling my driver that this is the final lap of stage 2. Hey, get us home. I know you're running hard. Don't make a mistake here.
Yeah, enough guys have made mistakes. We already had some real big hitters in the garage.
It really happened today.
Yeah, we're still rolling. Let's be happy.
Chandler Smith out of Talking Rock, Georgia, is going to claim his 2nd career stage win. And the fight for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th still very tight as they all cross the finish line.
Good stage for Hemrick, who's coming into this race just 18 above the cut line for the playoffs. Important for him to maximize these stages, get as many points as he can, not only finishing good at the end of these races, but putting a stage together like that is going to be important for him.
Not as big, but there were more incidents in stage 2 as well. You're watching the NASCAR Xfinity Series Tennessee Lottery 250. stage is complete from Nashville Superspeedway, and getting ready for the final 95 laps still to go here. Steve, we had talked about tires being an issue. The Xfinity Series came here for the weekend of the event with 5 sets of tires. They had practice yesterday, and 1 set of tires was used there. They said, okay, 4 sets of tires can be used for this race. 1 of them had to be used for qualifying. So you really limit the number of tires these guys have at their discretion.
So if you can close your eyes and pretend this has been a comm race, which it has not, you would just put a set of tires on at the end of stage 1. You would put your second set of tires on here at stage 2, and you would put a third set somewhere in the final stage. You hopefully pick the right yellow or get the right brake. With all of the spins, the chaos, the 2 tires, the damage, Marty and Kim and all the pit reporters are doing a great job. Dave down there of telling us this creative tire management all of the teams have used. The goal would be that you have taken your medicine, and now here, everyone will put some tires on, and we're hoping that everybody just has a set left for the final stage. If you're a fan of one of these drivers that have been in an incident, you would be squared up with the rest of the field if you have an extra set after this pit stop. Kim.
Very limited.
Yeah, and the cars making their way down pit road. Top left, Sam Mayer in that #1 car said he needed more stability on throttle. Did not like that run, so they will look to tighten it up with an air pressure adjustment. A little slow on the right side for Sam Mayer as they make their way to the left. Cole Custer, top right, also needs tightened up, just way too free, he was complaining. Dave?
From 33rd to 3rd for Daniel Hemrick. What a run for him. No adjustments on this stop. As for the 16 of Chandler Smith, he said it got a little bit looser as the run ran on, so a little bit of an air pressure adjustment for him. Let's see who wins the race off pit road.
And the one with an issue, Sam Mayer, got blocked in, and so lost a lot of spots on pit road. Chandler Smith able to get back out where he was. Custer and Hemrick also holding on to their position. But take a look at this.
Oh, so the 35, David Starr, goes to turn in. Now the 1 is going to leave. Oh, my goodness. That's a great job by Sam Mayer. I know he probably wish he was pointed out a little bit better to get out and not lose the spots, but we cover competition, but that was a pit crew member running right in front of him. Not much room between him. That was really great reaction by Sam. He might or may not have had enough room, but we talk a lot about the youth behind the wheel. That's maturity. I mean, even at his young age of 19, to understand he had to stop. It wasn't the time to try to kind of squeeze out around that car. That could have been much, much worse. So I know it's disappointing for the 1 to lose track position, but no damage to the car. Luckily, no injury to anyone on pit road.
Well done by Sam Mayer. Let's go to the Peacock pit box. Hey, guys, if I were to give you 1 minute to kind of recap this race up to this point, you think that's enough time?
Yes, perfect. Spin, crash, spin, crash, spin, crash.
Done.
That's the recap.
That's it.
That's it. Let's go to tape.
Yeah, they didn't waste much time in getting all of this done. Starting at the very beginning, get down into turn 1. A.J. Allmendinger makes it 3 wide with Kyle Sieg right here, who gets up into Jeff Burton a little bit, and then a lot of cars join in.
Yep. Then we get another restart right after that, and you see the 7 car of Justin Allgaier here, the 07 of Stephen Parsons. But here we are down in turns 3 and 4 now. Here's the 39 of Ryan Sieg spinning again. He and his brother both, but you see the 21 car of Austin Hill just gets in, gets a little bit loose, gets sideways, pins. Once again, Jeff Burton's in it, gets a little bit of quarter panel damage.
Yeah, but there was one thing for sure. Ty Gibbs winning that first stage. He was the class of the field at that time, but that didn't take long to take care of that.
No, and then on this restart, Austin Hill's out here on old tires. He goes down, and we heard Jeff Burton and Dale Jr. talk about it. Just overran the grip of the tires. Goes up the racetrack and collects the 19 car, the 10 car of A.J. Allmendinger, 2 or 3 cars that were up front at that time.
Yeah, and once again, this is just a matter that this track is really slick. The drivers are trying, I know, to give some respect to that, but they're just overdriving in certain situations, taking out Sammy Smith, who had run pretty much in the top 5 all day. Brandon Jones can't catch a break throughout most of this year, and they kind of ended up that way again once today. You think we're going to make it through this restart right here? You think we can make it into turn 1 and get through a lap?
If they make it through this, and there's been 15 drivers involved in accidents so far, let's just run this last 100 and see what we get out of it.
JP in the graphics department working overtime to create that list right there. we're going to have to go to scrolling pages if we have any more wrecks.
Yeah, shout out to our entire crew. I mean, the shots of Sam Mayer coming out of the pits, just a great job by everybody on top of it today. And yes, you mentioned JP working overtime in the graphics there to add the names to the list of people involved in incidents as they're 2x2 once again. Custer on the outside. Chandler Smith will be on the inside, the winner of stage 2. And Chandler Smith, the control car. So when they get ready to come back into the restart zone, it is his decision as to when they go. See a tire violation for the 98 of Riley Herbst.
That's a huge penalty. Good run by Riley Herbst. He has a lot of ground to make up now.
One, be ready. Green flag, green flag. Out.
Stage 3 underway. And right away, 3 wide. A little bit further back in the field as they go through 1. Steve, you want to make a prediction? Are we going to see a long run?
So I was just going to ask you if you want to make a prediction of who you think you can win the race, because I have no idea who is the best car at this point. I actually do think a long run's coming. When you see a chaotic start like this, that's kind of normally how it works at a place like Richmond, place like Dover. A lot of wrecks and then a long run. We'll see if it works out right here.
Josh Berry back here underneath the 10 car. Josh's car has not been as good as I thought it was going to be today. Looked really good in practice yesterday, but it just has not raced very well.
Kind of trapped down here on the inside of A.J. Allmendinger. He's going to try to fall in line now. Behind A.J. Back to the inside. Off the corner. It's just so hard to make passes on the bottom. You see it time and time again, especially with cars on new tires on the outside. Just cannot really do much about it when you're on the bottom of the racetrack.
2 RCR cars running almost side by side. Sheldon Creed a little loose there in the 2. Austin Hill with the banged up back of the 21.
They're doing a nice job of making something of the weekend. Practice was an uphill battle for both the 2 and the 21. Just didn't have the pace, short run, long run. Now it's been a chaotic race, and they both, you could tell by looking at the 2 of them, there's some damage, but they're continuing to fight, continuing to battle, trying to make something of this trip to Nashville.
See Sam Mayer in that 1 car. We showed why he's behind. He's got to remain cool right here. He got really loose right in the middle of the corner, had to chase it up the racetrack, but this is the situations where this young man has gotten himself in trouble, trying a little bit too hard. This is when his spotter, crew chief, everybody needs to remind him, look, there's still time. Still a lot of racing left. Let's go get them when we can, pass them when you get to them, but don't push more than you have to. He was running 4th. He came out 12th, so he's already picked up 2 spots.
Allgaier right behind Moffitt.
You can see the patience that Allgaier had to have there to not get in the back of the 25. Even though he couldn't throttle up, he's lifting, trying to give the 25 of Moffitt an opportunity to get off the corner straight.
You posed the question earlier, who's next as far as advancing out of the Xfinity Series up to the Cup Series. And there is a veteran driver, and we just saw him there in the 7, Justin Allgaier, that has found kind of his comfort zone right here in the Xfinity Series and made a career out of it.
Yeah, now I will be the first to say that if he got some magical phone call from Rick Hendrick or Joe Gibbs or some great opportunity that just we don't see coming, maybe he would make the leap. But whenever I have a conversation with Justin, he seems very content of being a professional race car driver in the Xfinity Series.
Got a spin off of turn 4 here. Parker Klickerman gets the car loose, but he did a good job there. The car didn't come all the way around. You don't see the roof flap up or anything. Gets through the grass, doesn't tear up the splitter. Good save there. We talk about earlier in the race, rookie drivers trying to correct and overcorrecting, how to lock the car down, how to settle it down, stay out of trouble. This is a great example of that.
He's having some kind of problem right here. Really slow on the bottom.
Kaz Gralla coming up behind him. Gets a little bit loose, and Kaz gets in the right rear quarter panel.
Something was going on with that 48 car prior to that.
Yeah, he looks like he's struggling a little bit with some kind of an issue, maybe a tire problem. Kim, what you got?
Well, actually, right before this incident, He had come on the radio and said, I need to come down pit road. They said right side tires and fuel. So he had the intention to come down pit road, likely a tire going down. So Parker Kligerman spinning after what was a tire issue.
And probably didn't have the opportunity to wave, put his hand out down the backstretch. So Kaz Grala was just right up on him, not knowing that he was trying to come to pit road.
NASCAR threw that caution right there, you know, and
he's still on the racetrack here trying to catch up with the field, going at a very reduced rate, you know, just in case the tire tries to come apart. It doesn't create an issue for him and tear off any of the body panels on the car. They are very lucky right here to be able to get to pit road on the lead lap and get this change made.
I wonder if it isn't a flat or a loose wheel,
Yeah.
because looking at it, I don't see any tires slack enough as he's riding around that would tell me he had to go this slow.
Yeah.
So I wonder if a wheel's not shaking, right? Like either maybe a loose wheel and that's why he's going slow. Patrick Donahue, crew chief for Parker Kligerman. Been in the garage a long time, a bunch of different roles. He was back Jeff Gordon team all the way back in the 90s. I worked with Patrick. Dave, how about the 26?
Well, he circulates with 4 good tires, does Kaz Grala. And as we give you your Toyota driver update for the afternoon, let's listen to what he had to say and the team had to say after that little contact with Parker.
I didn't know he was coming to pit road. I thought he was just letting the 31 go by on the top so he could stay bottom. Nobody waved up here or anything? Nobody came and told me? I never saw a hand out the window.
Rick, you nailed it. Didn't know he was coming and was trying to make the exit of the corner best he could. Kaz Grala did not mean to get into Parker Kligerman.
Rick, 83 to go. We expect the fuel window to be about 65 to 70 laps. So say you got aggressive, maybe you could go 72 or 73. I'm not saying someone's not going to try to risk 83 laps, but that would be much, much further. But if the rash cautions continue, maybe somebody will gamble here in Nashville.
You know, NASCAR fans, Fan Rewards is free to join. You can earn points all season long by just watching races. You can answer trivia, play fantasy, buying race tickets, and more. You just save your points, trade them in for either free tickets or autographed merchandise. There's exclusive NASCAR gear, and of course, one-of-a-kind race day experiences. Visit NASCAR.com/fan rewards to take a part of that. All right, guys, let's take a look at the Relive Mortgage keys to victory.
Yeah, one of the keys, right out of the gate, we learned it was important to try to survive this race. And as more and more cars are swept up in accidents, it starts to make it a little bit easier. Your job is easier as the field thins out. So trying to survive this final stage, put yourself in position to win.
Well, survival might be easier, but keeping up with adjustments is not, Jeff, with the stopping, the starting, the short runs. If we do have a long run, we got 80 laps to go in this race. Who's going to guess right and make the right adjustment for a long green flag run?
And patience still matters. In a race like this, it's hard to have an understanding of how far there is to go. You feel like you've been in that car forever. Team needs to be reminding the driver, hey, look, there's still a long way to go. So still enough time to be patient, make the smart moves.
Dave, how about the 11 of Daniel Hemrick?
Well, Ricky started the day on the bubble for the playoffs for the Xfinity Series. Still 12 races to go, so a bit of time. But when I talked to Daniel before the race today, he wasn't really sure what was going on with his 11 car, whether it would be fast or not. And, of course, qualifying didn't go well, having started 33rd. Well, he's all the way up to 3rd, and he's been making pit stops without the aid of his lights on the dash to help him on pit road. Hasn't sped yet. Hold your fingers crossed, 11 fans. There's one more pit stop to go. Marty?
So, Dave, that one more pit stop with 80 to go in the race. So, Steve, with 9 cautions so far today, if you're a crew chief and the debate's going on the radio right now, would you maybe run a little bit longer than you normally would? That window opens in about 10, 12, 15 laps. So you could come soon, but would you run it longer?
I'm waiting for some sort of rhythm, to be quite honest, in this race before I could decide. We're going to see if this restart's any calmer. I'm going to vote no, and let's see what it looks like.
79 laps to go now. Cole Custer on the outside, Chandler Smith on the inside. And once again, bumper to bumper as they go into 1 and fanning out up to at least that 3rd line. Right now, 3 Kaulig cars in the top 5. And Daniel Hemrick fighting for the lead here.
Cole Custer's going to push Chandler Smith on that outside lane. Can he push him past Daniel Hemrick? Look at Daniel's discipline. Just stay on that yellow line. Did not get pulled into overdrive in turn 1. He's cleared him.
That's really impressive what you see out of the 11 car that you mentioned, Jeff, how he's able to wrap the bottom of the racetrack so well in both ends of the racetrack. Doing it again in 3 and 4 there. Daniel Hemrick, this is by far the best run of the season for him. It's been frustrating. They haven't had the speed. His teammate right here back to the bottom of the racetrack. Chandler Smith has been really, really quick all year for Kaulig. Hemrick's opportunity now, right here in front of him.
Chandler Smith, he drifts up the racetrack just a bit. Hemrick giving him plenty of room. But that movement up the racetrack opens the door for Cole Custer.
It's like Chandler Smith might have been a little patient on that start to understand what grip he had. Once he got to where he understood the grip of the car, able to drive right back to the lead. Now he's pulling away again.
Kind of hanging out just behind these 2 battles right here. It's hard to believe we haven't said his name much. The big news, Josh Berry to replace Kevin Harvick. Kind of a disappointing qualifying run, but there he is. There's the 8 car. I'm going to say completely damage-free. I don't really see any dents or dings on the 8. I think that shows the type of guy why he was picked to go in the 4. Right in a chaotic race. Look at how clean that 8 car is. I feel like, Dave, this 8's just keeping his car in one piece and biding his time.
Yeah, Steve, it's definitely clean. There has been some contact, light contact, from Josh Berry to other cars on the track, but the biggest handling issue he's had, he reported that on top of the track feel. Drivers, can you remind folks what that means when your car feels like it's on top of the track?
Yeah, basically, you're not loose or tight. Neither front or back of the car have grip. You're sliding across the racetrack. You're trying to throttle up and exit the corner with the cars in front of you. You just go sliding in a 4-wheel drift when you do that. You can't tell the crew chief it's tight, it's loose, fix one end or the other. You tell him to give me overall grip, and I don't know that a crew chief really knows what to do with that information.
I've been looking for that grip knob for 25 years, just never quite found it.
You either have it when you unload or you don't.
That's true.
And I haven't seen anything out of this 8 car like we've seen from them last year. All year long, they've struggled a little bit just to find the pace to be able to really put together the season that we expected this year.
The RCR cars battling. Look at this 98 car. Riley Herbst. Riley had that uncontrolled tire penalty a little bit ago, had to go to the back, and he is driven all the way up to battling for a top 10 spot right here. Nice drive by Riley. All those SHR cars are fast today. Custer in second. Here's a 98, just cleared that one car mare. Good speed today.
Good speed, and remember, Dave Burns told us a story earlier today. Remember, Riley lost his crew chief promotion to the Cup Series, so Davin Restivo on top of the pit box, working quickly with Riley, kind of figuring out their vernacular, how they want to communicate, what kind of scale they use. So, you know, a good first showing for a new crew chief for Riley Herbst.
Austin Hill, Sheldon Creed still fighting for position between the two teammates, but it's Chandler Smith that's out front. You won't miss a second as we go NASCAR nonstop.
Oh, there is tasty radio from the 21 who does not like his teammate right now.
Tonight on NBC and Peacock, the USFL playoffs take over primetime with the North Division Championship, Michigan versus Pittsburgh. USFL playoffs, that's live tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern. Game at Tom Benson Hall of Fame Stadium in Canton, Ohio. And still a great battle going here between Daniel Hemrick in the 11 and just in front of him, John Hunter Nemechek.
They are battling tough here for this position. Rick Allmendinger has passed both these cars up into third place. The number 10 just in front of this battle right here. Hemrick to the inside down the front straightaway. Side draft. Look how close he gets to try to get that side draft to work. Nemechek with a veteran move there, backing up a little bit, letting him have the corner.
Nemechek's car is going the wrong direction.
I am surprised by that. The 8 car right to his back bumper here.
Watch what happens on corner entry right here. The 20 cannot carry speed into the corner at all. I don't know what he's got going on. I assume he's loose. Kel, what do you have?
Well, John Hunter came on the radio pretty frantically and said, guys, I have a vibration and it's building. Spotter came on the radio and said, for what it's worth, vibration on John Hunter Nemechek's 20 machine.
Well, as Marty pointed out earlier when he asked the question right before the restart about strategy and how long you would run, we are inside the fuel window. So if he was forced to pit here, he could make it to the end on fuel. Now he would automatically go a lap down on this size of a racetrack. So then he would need the race to run long enough for everybody to cycle through. So it'll be interesting to see how this vibration is.
I hear right front.
Yeah, I thought that's what I heard on the 20. You could tell he's obviously very, very timid.
See this battle for the lead.
We're ready for you anytime. We're ready for you anytime. Yeah, I'm coming this time.
There you go, coming this time for the 20. You mentioned the battle for the lead up top. The 20's coming on the below.
And that's all you can do as a driver. You just have to make your best guess. Look, guys, I got a pit, and it just is. It's just a tough decision, but sometimes you just have to make it.
So Nemechek on the pit road. On top of your screen, you see Cole Custer has closed the gap. Chandler Smith running that high line. Cole Custer still in second. Kim.
And you see John Hunter Nemechek on pit road, right front vibration. He said his spotter, Tony Hirschman, couldn't calm him down. He felt like it was imperative they come down, change tires, 4 tires Sunoco fuel. You saw the chassis adjustment. He said he was getting just way too free and dirty hair.
Look at the tire. That's the right rear. The right front's the one I'm interested in. It's kind of going over pit wall now. There's going to be a lot of interest on that wheel.
There you see the damage to the nose they repaired earlier in the day. Having a great run until this issue.
Love this battle for the lead. 2 completely different lines. See Cole Custer trying to run in clean air underneath that 16 of Chandler Smith. He's just been committed to the top the entire time. Cole has not been able to carry enough speed to the middle of the corner to get alongside him. Chandler's perfectly content with him down there. It's where Chandler wants to be. That time, Cole just wrapped the yellow line. That seemed to be a little bit better, but he just can't keep pace down the straights.
It's another impressive thing to note about Chandler Smith. He's got good speed, good pace, having a great season in this race car, but also being able to move around on the racetrack. Not afraid to go to the top if that's where the faster line is. A lot of drivers are a little weary early in their careers about moving around. Really hard-headed about trying to get the car to work on the bottom. And a lot of people don't know how to run the top. Running the top takes different throttle inputs. You're doing different things with the race car, leaning on the right side a little bit different. Chandler is able to move around. You love to see a driver that searches the racetrack for speed.
I do believe this car is starting to get tight in the middle of the corner. He just gets slow right there, and that's where Cole Custer is able to make a run on him. He hasn't got enough momentum, but it's just been foot by foot gaining. It just looks like right in the middle, if you watch this corner, Chandler gets in the corner, and right there, he starts to go up the racetrack. It just doesn't rotate the way he wants it to.
I think he could open up that entry just a little bit. Maybe on entry, arc it off in there a little higher. That might help that middle turn just a little bit. He's running really high, as you see him right there. To your point, slowing down in the middle. Here comes the 00 right to the back bumper.
It's going to be a very difficult pass for Cole Custer. There's so much momentum that Chandler is able to carry on corner exit. It's almost going to, Chandler's going to almost have to slip, like right there. He's way up the racetrack.
Looked loose right there on the corner entry. Maybe that's why he's got the shallow entry and he's just throwing the car, basically a big slider into the corner up to the top.
What a great race.
I like this Chandler Smith kid, and he's shown some great speed in this car today. He is up against a heavyweight in Cole Custer. Cole Custer's won a ton of races in this series. We knew when he showed up this year they would be strong when he came back to the Xfinity Series. He's got a point to prove that he belongs in that Cup Series, that he had to vacate. Chip on his shoulder.
Keeps getting a little bit closer. See right here, he's going to get next to him. Can he stay next to him, get to his left rear quarter panel on this front straightaway?
Chandler really high right there. Drag race down the front straightaway. Up the racetrack, 00 side drafting. Cole Custer has the lower groove. Slides up the track. Smith in the dirt, almost into the fence, down the back straightaway, still side by side, dead even into 3. I love this.
Yeah, Chandler drove it in the corner much deeper that time. I don't know if he'll be able to keep that momentum. He was able to. This is why this pass is so difficult.
Yeah.
Custer's faster, but Chandler is good enough up top on corner exit to keep Custer from making that pass, completing that pass.
Now Chandler sort of shallows up the entry even more, trying to keep the car from sliding up the racetrack too far. Another dead heat down the back straightaway. Custer gets away to stop the side draft, moves back up.
See right there how Smith is able to drive into the corner on the outside. That keeps Custer from overdriving and pulling a slide job on him. It's just not an option for him right now.
Will traffic play a role, catching a few cars here in front of him?
AJ back there, he wants to run side by side for just a couple more laps. Get me right back into this mix.
The 35 way up the racetrack right here. Chandler's gonna have to drive low off the corner. He clears the 00. AJ, like you say, Steve is right there in the picture now.
Chandler Smith now with a 2-car length advantage over Custer after they're working their way around David Starr. But it's a 3-car battle for the lead here at Nashville. Tight racing, and you saw it all as now AJ Allmendinger has moved his way up into the 2nd spot, and he is trying to track down teammate Chandler Smith.
You see a little damage on the right rear quarter panel of this 10-car AJ Allmendinger. You have to imagine that little flare, that little spoiler, little wing off the right rear quarter panel is helping the side force on this 10 on this long run. He's drove right through the top 3 here and now trying to take the lead.
Hugging that yellow line, and he will take the lead. So now AJ Allmendinger out front.
That was a really interesting 10 laps right there. It looked like Cole Custer was going to get around Chandler. Chandler did a great job of fighting him off. Then here we go, this battle. Look how loose Cole Custer got with AJ Allmendinger right behind him. AJ ultimately able to pass him. Then he runs Chandler Smith, his teammate, down, and now he's got the lead. It's really interesting how the cars over that 10, 15 laps, that 10 car just emerged as the fastest.
And what makes strategy calls in the Xfinity Series so difficult is if you do pit under green, it'll be your last set of tires. Unlike in Cup, where you maybe can take the wave around and get lucky, put a set on and kind of recover. There's also over 20 cars still on the lead lap. With all of the cautions early, just not a lot of cars a lap down, Marty. So while, you know, we see aggressive early pit calls at the Cup side, the Xfinity Series seems to run a little bit longer into their fuel windows.
First oval Xfinity race of the year for A.J. Allmendinger. He won earlier in the year at COTA, and he has been very happy with his car on the long run. Just talked to Alex Johnson, crew chief, a moment ago. They're pitting in about 3 to 5 laps for that final stop of the day that you mentioned. But, Steve, I think that damage from earlier for A.J. Allmendinger is not hurting the aero at all on this 10 car. Might be a little bit of an advantage. He is so quick on these long runs.
Yeah, and I think that's where that, you know, not that it was by design, but if you do have an aero advantage, normally as tires wear, that's kind of where you see it. You know, your mechanical grip goes away, the aero grip stays there. But, Jeff, you've pointed out a couple times, the overall pace of this 98 on the long run is very, very impressive. As we see now, the two leaders chase each other to pit road.
Marty.
Justin Allgaier, the first of the top 10 to come. That was the first time all day long that Jim Pullman, his crew chief, had sticker tires on the car, but they couldn't take advantage of it, Kim. Car was just way too tight on that run.
And Cole Custer complaining he just has completely lost the right rear. The back end is out of the racetrack. They will make no adjustments. They think putting 4 fresh Goodyear tires is going to alleviate that condition, Dave.
Chandler Smith getting enough Sunoco fuel to make it to the end along with his Goodyear tires. A little bit of an air pressure adjustment. He said it was getting a little snappy off the corner.
As we see those stops finishing, here comes the leader, the 10 of A.J. Allmendinger, a lap later. So we'll cover the pit stop, and then we'll see where he blends versus the 2 cars that were running second and third before the pit stops, Marty.
Steve, just one word from A.J. Allmendinger. They asked him, do you want any changes? His answer, nope. Pretty happy with the race car. It's going to be 42 to go when he comes to pit road here. We'll see where he cycles out with the other leaders who pitted the lap before, and if going 1 lap longer is going to help or hurt. A little bit longer there on the right side for the stop for the 10 bunch. Colin Racing trying to keep their leader out front.
All right, so there you have it, the 10 finishing service. You see on the map the 16 at the start-finish line at the top right of your screen. So as we're going to see the 10 fight hard here on the apron and the access road, you see what a lap of fresh tires does for you. The 16 and the 00 are going to easily pass the 10. That's just coming to pit road a lap earlier. Fresh tires are a little bit more grip. So now we'll see if A.J. Allmendinger, his tires are now 1 lap fresher, which isn't a huge advantage. We'll see if he can run the 16 and the 00 back down. Now the 1's currently the leader. Zane Smith, you saw just pull off. So in the middle of cycles, but if as long as it rolls through, this was what we expect to be the battle for the race win.
After 9 cautions, the chaos that we saw starting this race and green flag pit stops could determine the winner of this race.
Well, think of the experience that Cole Custer has in green flag pit stops, or A.J. Allmendinger. What a great job by Chandler Smith. Right, a truck racer, not a lot of green flag pit stops. So that's really impressive to me that this young man was able to keep up with 2 guys with Cup-level experience getting on and off pit road.
Issues for the 98 of Riley Herbst. He misses pit road. Look at that. Has to go right by.
Yeah, the one thing he did do a good job there, he knew he was going to miss it, and he didn't just keep trying. He accepted his fate, got in the throttle, and went all the way around the racetrack, rather than just, you know, trying to get on there and then getting penalized.
Sheldon Creed, too fast entering, speeding for the 2.
As we see this battle right here, so Sam Mayer staying on the racetrack, Parker Retzloff staying, Parker Kligerman. What are they hoping for? They're hoping maybe we go another 10, 15 laps. They still have enough fuel and then get a caution, because then they could come down, put their last set of tires on. These leaders, well, they'll be on the lead lap by then probably. They'll probably unlap themselves. Now they'll have hot, used tires. So that's kind of the strategy call for the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, Joe Graff Jr., all these cars that stay on the racetrack, they're hoping for a caution, probably even in 10 more laps, so then they could put their last set of tires down.
Serving the penalty there, you see Sheldon Creed in the 2. How far can they go, Steve? For example, well, Sam Mayer.
Well, Sam Mayer right here was last on pit road at lap, let's see, 94. So he could go all the way to probably 160, no problem. As you see now, the 16 car unlapping himself, Kim.
And Sam Mayer coming in for a stop. He said, I'm a 5 out of 10 at tight. I need to be free hurry up. They do make a chassis adjustment on the right side for Sam Mayer.
See him right here turning left. That's a great job getting to pit road. So Mayer's on pit road now.
They're going to make a chassis adjustment. We just heard that out of Kim. Sure enough, they do.
Oh, look at this call right here.
Right side tires.
Just right side tires, trying to gain some track position and perhaps gain a lap. We'll have to see where he cycles out right here. And I'll be honest, with all of the cautions earlier, I assume he still has some fresh left sides in the box, but it's been a very chaotic first and second stage. See what will be the leaders right here on the front stretch. So this will put the one closer to them, but definitely not take the lead over.
Retzloff still scored as the leader. Parker Kligerman second until they come to pit road. Chandler Smith, Cole Custer, 6th and 7th of the cars that can make it all the way to the checkered flag.
And I like this call for the 31 of Retzloff because, you know, as you question how far could you go, I say they could go probably about another 10 laps. Run as long as you can. You're kind of committed now, so just run as long as you can. This could be the break. This young man could get to win his first race, right? You get a lucky caution. That isn't the only luck, right? The caution might be lucky, but the strategy isn't just luck. This was a good decision by this team. We'll see if they get fortunate enough to get a yellow. We had enough earlier. I'm not sure if there's any left in the race.
And the screen on the bottom, this is what ultimately we believe will be the battle for the lead. These three cars have all found themselves right together again. This time on newer tires. Chandler Smith's running the bottom of the racetrack. Pretty much what they'll all do until the tires start to wear out and start looking for grip somewhere else.
A little bit of traffic in front of them, not a ton. It's really going to be settled on who can look at the 10. Can dive down into the corner, and I don't know that he affected the balance on that 00, but he can get in the corner so much deeper than the rest of these guys. This car's coming to life here late in this race.
And Junior, it seems as though the 10 favors a longer run. I mean, that last long run, he was able to get out front, get the lead. Wasn't able to come out of pit road after those pit stops in the lead, but now he's fighting right back and will be challenging these guys once everyone has cycled through their pit stops. He'll be challenging them for the lead once again. Let's listen in on Cole Custer's radio.
Got a parachute for a right rear quarter panel. They shouldn't be letting him race like that with a 50 pound force side force. Yep, I agree. I see it too.
And that's the complaint from other drivers about the side, the right rear quarter panel on this number 10. It's obviously, you know, anytime you can flare out the quarter panel, you're going to gain a lot of side force. It's a very slick, loose racetrack that's going to improve the balance of the car. AJ didn't do that on purpose. The team didn't do it on purpose. He got caught up in a crash early in the race. It's an advantage that they gained through the damage and that going in their favor.
And if that was something that NASCAR thought should have been corrected, I think it's something that they would have asked them to do on the pit stop. You don't want to black flag a guy and bring him in for that, but they obviously weren't asked to do it. Oh, it's a big slide out of the 16. That's going to open the door for the 10 on the bottom.
Yeah, Chandler Smith way up the racetrack and catch it. Opens the door for the 10 of Allmendinger to get by, but it's still Parker Kligerman that is leading this race at Nashville. Kligerman in the 48s. fans, you can represent your favorite driver and take advantage of the amazing deals at NASCAR Shop. Check out the greatest selection of t-shirts, hats, die casts, all sorts of swag. Visit NASCAR.com/shop today. Our aerial coverage brought to you by Pods. Moving this summer, save up to 30% at pods.com today. 25 to go from here at Nashville Superspeedway, and so many things have changed from the very first lap of this race. Parker Kligerman out in front. Steve, how much further can he go?
Well, you see on the left side of your screen, 57 laps. We assume they could go 65 or 70, so definitely has to make another pit stop. The issue for the 48, as Kim covered earlier, he came in and he had either a flat or a loose wheel when he spun off turn 4. We haven't really got exact clarification of what it is, so he doesn't really have any new tires left in his pit stall, Kim. So at this point, I assume they just hope the thing runs green, come in for a splash of gas, and just go back on the racetrack.
Yeah, they do have a set of scuffs on the wall if they do need to take those 45-lap scuffs. But to your point, they used up that last set of tires when they had a wheel or a tire issue earlier. So Parker just buying his time out front, getting the seat time, though, to lead laps, which is important to this team.
And you see the variety, right? Brandon Jones was about out of gas. So there's some guys, so many. There's Brandon right there, comes in, no left front fender.
As you mentioned, 70 laps since his last time on pit road, so they'll be putting enough fuel in it to go the final 23 laps. But Parker Kligerman staying out there hoping for a caution.
And behind him, A.J. Allmendinger has now gapped Cole Custer by a couple seconds, and a couple seconds back to Chandler Smith. Sam Mayer, we saw take 2 tires on the pit stop. He's climbed his way back up into 5th, which we assume will turn into 4th when Parker has to come to pit road.
We're zooming in on the 10 of A.J. Allmendinger, and breath of fresh air, I would guess, for A.J. Allmendinger. He's running full time in the Cup Series, and that hasn't gone how he expected it was going to go. He was hoping for better this year, but this has got to feel good to be out in front on an oval, even though it's in the Xfinity Series race. He's still having that success that he's used to.
I think the oval's the key word, right? I mean, they won at COTA in this 10 car, but I mean, AJ could drive anything anywhere on a road course and be one of the favorites. So I think the oval is a real key for this 10 car to feel even better about their performance today. Marty.
Well, the 3rd race of the Xfinity Series for A.J. Allmendinger, and speaking of that confidence, Rick and Steve, he has finished 1st at COTA, as you mentioned, Rick, and 2nd at Sonoma last time out, trying to cap it off with a win here at the first oval of the year. But he's asking what everyone else is asking as well. Can Parker Kligerman make it on fuel? Here was that conversation.
Can he make it? Either way, we've got a lot of laps left. You're going to catch him at 11. We're fine. Cannot make it. He cannot make it. Just been told by somebody he cannot make it.
So after that confirmation, they do not think the 48 can make it. AJ said, from now on, just give me lap times and lap count. That's all I want.
As we see Josh Berry moving to the inside of Daniel Hemrick to take that spot away.
He's going to try to take it, and right behind them is the 98 Riley Herbst. I think Riley might be one of the best cars, if not the best car on the racetrack right now, running his best lap times several times over the last 5 laps. Quickest car. This is going to be a race of what if for Riley Herbst. I think he came in here with a chance to at a winning car, was in position a few times and had the track position to make it happen. Trying to climb back through the field here, claw back into a top 5 finish.
Yeah, pit road penalty, and then also he missed pit road on the green flag pit stop. So a team effort, right? It takes everybody, and the driver had a mistake, the team made a mistake, and that's put them in this position not to be able to capitalize and win with a winning car today.
Got enough laps left to be able to try to get by this 8 car, then the 21 of Austin Hill and Sam Mayer just a couple of seconds in front of him. So things go the right way. A couple more spots here to grab before the end of this one, but absolutely having the crew chief change right now has not hurt this team one bit. They had a really good strong start to the year, trying to finish strong here in the second half.
Yeah, the yellow could change everything. Unlike the Cup Series, you know, it's not like everybody's going to come and final adjustments and a fresh set of tires. You're going to basically restart on what you have right here. So this car that you think is one of the best, you know, you'd be able to line right up kind of on the bumpers of the leaders.
And that's why, other than just finishing well, that's why all these positions matter. If you could get in the first 3 rows on a restart, you can make something happen and get a win.
Right.
Dave.
Checking in on Chandler Smith, who's gone from first to fourth now in that 16 car. Shortly after he was passed for the lead, he radioed his crew. Those changes did nothing for him. Remember, he was a little bit snappy off the corners. And it's really disappointing because he tried also to do what Allmendinger was doing, which is backing up the corner to make his entry a little bit different and better. That did not work either. He came in with a lot of confidence. He said, I've got that same feeling I had at Las Vegas where I finished third but led 118 laps. Today, doesn't look like Chandler's going to be able to win running fourth.
Total different line out of Chandler Smith as well from when he was running up front and leading.
Dale, you mentioned it earlier in this broadcast about Nashville Superspeedway and what would it be like. We'd all have tested here. We didn't see a lot of races here, and it hasn't disappointed. I mean, we know we had a lot of yellows early, but even here in this long green flag run, cars are really everywhere. You see how dark the racetrack is from apron, maybe not all the way to the wall, but 2/3 of the way up. I think that's allowing, you know, drivers to search around. You see Chandler Smith right here. You mentioned the different lines. He's kind of running towards the top of the black.
And the lack of grip, the way they've been sliding around, a lot of off throttle, very challenging for the drivers. A lot of what happens today and tomorrow in the Cup race is solely in the driver's hands to be able to get this car down in the corner and exit the corner properly.
That's Matt Collig zooming in on the ring there. Matt Collig, the Daytona 250 win.
Listen, we talk about the sport. You know, there's a lot of conversation here about the business of the sport. Think about an owner that's come in at an acceptable rate for him in the beginning here in the Xfinity level, continues to grow. Now here he is with multiple cars, both in the Xfinity and the Cup level. He's become just a huge part of the sport, and it's what I kind of like about him. He has that swagger that it's really all about winning. He kind of stays out a lot of the political conversations. For him, he just likes to be the best cars. You're going to see the pass for the lead, which we think the 48 has to come to pit road anyway. A.J. Allmendinger, much fresher tires. Parker doesn't really have a whole lot to hold off the 10 car with, Kim.
And Patrick Donahue, the crew chief, just came on the radio and said, best case scenario, we're 3 laps short. Parker said, I'm saving as best as I can. Read into that what you want, Steve.
But at some point, you ask yourself, if you can run out of gas at the white, you might almost finish better than if you actually pit. You know, so I mean, it's a tough situation, but you just got to play the odds. I mean, I run out of gas enough. I'm the wrong guy to ask. Of course, I would stay out and just run out.
On the white, as a matter of fact.
Yeah, on the white. Yeah, normally I can see the white under power. It was that whole last lap thing. Got me a few times.
So Kligerman now back to second, and Allmendinger up front. Allmendinger full time in the Cup Series, and so we'll see him tomorrow. Sold out crowd here at Nashville Superspeedway for tomorrow's race.
That's going to be great. I mean, downtown Nashville last night was on fire. We walked down to Broadway. Dale, did you and you at your Dale Jr. download event? And the Broadway was shut down. People were everywhere. The town is electric. It's just a short drive out here to the Superspeedway. The fans were fired up. Sell out tomorrow.
It's hard to believe how many people were down there last night partying. I was super jealous.
I left your event and ran back to the hotel because there were so many awesome places to stop and see people. I had to hustle back to the room.
9 laps to go for A.J. Allmendinger, the winningest Collig driver. We mentioned anytime you go to a super speedway or to a road course, you have to look at A.J. Allmendinger.
And we're going to talk a lot about A.J. in this 10 if he does go to victory lane, but it's been a bigger day for Collig than just that. Chandler Smith having a great day. Daniel Hemrick drove up, took the lead, led laps for only a handful of times this year. So the whole organization has seemed to be just a little bit stronger. Now, I know a lot of things happened early in this race, but I think they're going to be able to circle at least some gains that they can take through the second half of this season.
Herbst already closed in on the back of Austin Hill for 5th place, coming to 8 laps to go for these guys. 98, fast car. He's ran down this 21. Both of them, though, are out of grip, sliding around on top of this racetrack. What options does Herbst have to be able to make this pass?
And again, Herbst in a position where a penalty put him back and had to fight his way from back of the field up to the front. But definitely one of the strongest cars that we have seen in the field today.
Yeah, they're about almost 2 seconds a lap on Kligerman, who's in third, so possibly another position, but it's a great battle here coming down to the finish.
Less than 7 to go.
Well, I was going to say, Reagan, if you're A.J. Allmendinger, you got to be nervous not only for the position you're in, but every time you hear the radio key for any reason, you just want to hope it's not for a yellow. You don't want to see the yellow lights flash. You just want this thing to run the last 6 laps.
I'll tell you something too about AJ is his cup car was pretty good also. They were good in practice. Didn't qualify as well as I thought they would, but I think they have good speed.
Herb's right on the back bumper now, closing in. Turns in a little early, trying to get a little air. 21's up the racetrack.
Herb's trying to take away the 5th spot,
there's
and
the
there's the caution.
The car in the grass right here, the 91.
Chad Chastain.
So there will be a restart.
Well, first the decision is why we know that no one in the field has. This will help Parker as long as it doesn't go into overtime. He could maybe coast a little bit. They may decide to just come get gas with only 14 cars in the lead lap. The question is, no one has new Goodyear tires, but Kim reported that the 48 of Parker had like 40-something lap scuffs, but they're cold or cooler. So that will be more grip. So I haven't ruled out that some of these cars will pit, even to put, this is going to sound very odd, fresh old tires, right? Yeah. Cooler old tires on the car just for the short run. Now, I don't think the leaders will, but somewhere in the middle of this field, someone's going to come to pit road, I believe.
I'll tell you, just caught an unlucky break is that 27 car. He just got lapped. He last pitted on lap 107. So he potentially would have been a car that could have been in the lead lap and come down pit road and put tires on, but he just got lapped, so now he can't take advantage of it.
He'll get the free pass then. You see Chad Chastain and the reason for the caution here.
Just lose the back of the car. Everybody at this point of the race is out of control, out of tires, out of grip. He does a good job getting it slowed down into the grass. No damage to the car. I'm also thinking about, what are we going to do for tires? You're going to tell me what to do as far as coming down pit road. But also, we need to be thinking about what lane we're going to line up in. So that's going to be critical.
So Sam Mayer, if I remember correctly, put 2 tires on. So the question I have for our pit reporters, Kim, I don't know if you're near the one, but I guess you guys are up and down pit road. Do you see anybody with some motion, like they're definitely going to come? And does the one of Sam Mayer have new left side tires available? I mean, you see right here, this is the Cole Custer pit. They have tires on the wall glued up, or at least the little, if we zoom in on the lug nut right here, you can see they use these little like adhesive foam. So they glue with like weather strip adhesive. So you see right here, they actually have been glued up. So they had time. These tires came off earlier in the race. You see the brake dust on the wheel, and they instantly glued the lug nuts back on, knowing that this was the plan all along. If they needed a set of tires, this is the freshest set. Because remember, early in the race, so many yellow flag laps, there might be some lower lap scuffs on pit road. You can see by the movement on pit road that looks like they plan on coming in.
Pit road's open, so we're going to find out.
Yeah, I saw the 31 team. They're down there ready to go.
Oh, you saw a stick of tire on the wall. That's the left sides, I think, for Sam Mayer. So we had the 10 stay on the racetrack. Cole Custer comes to pit road, though. How many come with him? Starting to see a handful. Kim.
And you see Cole Custer right now taking tires on the right side of his machine, still just loose on that. It is going to be a 4-tire change for Cole Custer. Also, Parker Kligerman coming in. We reported about his gas situation. This was a fortuitous caution, exactly what they were looking for. These are scuffed tires they're putting on that machine. And you see the one there of Sam Mayer. They did have at least 2 fresh tires. We'll check in and see what that team did.
So what these guys are doing is they're banking that these cold scuffed tires are going to be better than the hots that are still on the race car. And it's not going to be a ton more grip, but a little more grip may be enough to get something done.
If I was one of those crew chiefs, we're going to be a ton more grip. I'd be so, listen, man, if they had 30, I'd be like, they got like mid-20s. These tires are pretty fresh. So.
Marty, what do you think? Chris Rice, is he fired up for this restart?
I think he's feeling better than earlier this week when he said, hey, AJ's going to come in and tell us everything we're doing wrong in the Xfinity program. How do you feel about this situation and the driver you have behind the wheel to close it out?
Well, you know, one thing about this group, they never quit fighting, right? And that's what's happened today. A.J. Allmendinger has always made us fight. He does tell us what we're doing wrong, and he told us yesterday how bad we were. So we got to go to work, you know, and we went to work. Alex Shantz, Bruce Schlicker, Jason Trincheri, everybody back at the shop has really went to work. But, man, so proud of Matt Collick for letting us do this. And getting involved with these country music singers, it's pretty cool for them to stand up here and jump around and sing and do a bunch of that stuff. So, yeah, AJ's telling us what we're doing wrong. Right now, he's not saying nothing. He made me have my radio off.
There you go. He's got the country music stars back here kind of hanging out. AJ's going to come, I believe, to the choose next time and try and close this one out for a second Xfinity win of the year.
So a quick update on pit stops as we see, what is that, Bailey Zimmerman? Did I say that correctly? I think I did.
Religiously. Yeah, you did. That's the name on the
I can only see my eyes apparently aren't as good as yours, Rick. I can only get the name. I couldn't see.
You had the BZ. Yeah,
I
got
the
you.
name. I mean, my eyes aren't that good. So tires, cooler. We won't call them fresh. 7th currently. Cole Custer, first car off pit roads in 7th. You see this. These are the lap down cars pulling because the lead lap cars that pitted are legally allowed to pull up in front of the lap down cars. That puts Custer now the 7th car in line. So now, Dale, back to your point about the choose. You're Cole Custer. You got cool tires. Where are you going?
Outside. So I'm going to the outside so I can go to the top if I want to. I know that it's slick and edgy, but I don't want to get trapped on the bottom behind old tires. I know everybody's going to go in the corner and likely slide up the racetrack and make me a fool, but I think that, you know, what we saw here last year was if you got those new tires, you want the freedom to be able to either go through the middle or the very top, go around these guys on the bottom of the racetrack on these old tires. Parker Kligerman, I think, is sitting in a really, really good position as well. And not everybody can choose the top. Somebody's going to be faced with the opportunity to go to the bottom. Cole Custer to the bottom.
I do want to remind everybody, we see the damage on that 21 car. Remember how he got it? He drove into turn 1 on old tires and didn't have enough grip, went up the racetrack. That's when Ty Gibbs got wrecked. That's how all that damage happened.
I'm going to tell you,
that happened on old tires, exactly what he's got right now. And next to him, though, I want to talk about that guy in that 98 car. He is hungry. That guy, you watch him. The move to win the race is going to aggressively come from Riley Herbst. He feels like he let his team down, getting on pit road. His team had a penalty. Now it's life. Now it's new life. Now I can win this race.
So what will he do? Will he go to the outside right after they cross the start-finish line to set that up? And will that line be available? Chandler Smith has been running that higher line all day. Will he be taking it, trying to get by A.J. Allmendinger?
When these guys go down to turn 1, it's going to be hard. It's going to be ugly. And I don't know who's coming out on top.
Neither do they.
They are going to be some very upset race car drivers when it's all said and done. Not only because of how they got raced on this last restart, but also the strategy, whether it was right or wrong call. Get ready.
It's going to be 2 to go. We're in overtime, presented by Credit One Bank. Bumping and banging as they get to the start-finish line. Everybody fanning out. Chandler Smith not having a great restart. And up the racetrack sideways, the 16, Chandler goes. And the caution comes out.
NASCAR is going to have to go back and look at that restart. You know, you're not allowed to change lanes until the start-finish line, but that's assuming everybody accelerates. We saw a lot of wheel spin. Some cars didn't go. This is those tough decisions when you have to be in the NASCAR tower. They're going to have to look at that restart and assume, you know, did the 98 have no choice? I mean, if the car in front of you spins the tires, you don't have to run into the back of them. So a lot happened in just a short period of time right there.
It did. The big winner and all that, though, is, you know, and I don't know how they're going to line them up, but look, watch what happens right here. So to me, Allmendinger's bringing them down very slow. Gets into the Geico restart zone, and off he goes. So that looks good to me. I don't see anything that was done wrong there.
The question I have is, and I think the 16 is kind of slipping and sliding, and he actually almost changes lanes, kind of getting loose and going left. You know, I don't think the 98 pulled right as much as the 16 goes left. Let's look.
He gets a shove right here. That turns him left. I think NASCAR might look at that and not come down too hard on the 98.
Well, I don't know what he does other than wreck the 16, to be honest, right? I mean, the 16's sideways turning left, and the 98 almost holds his line. and just continues almost straight down the straightaway as the 16 goes left.
Well, let's remind everybody what the rule is. The rule is that you have to launch in the Geico restart zone, and you have to maintain in your lane. You can't change lanes until you get to the start-finish line. So was the 98, clearly he was in a different lane than the 16, but the 16, like, he went down there, you know, because he had gotten hit. So I don't know how NASCAR looks at that. I think that's a judgment call. The big winner in all of that, is Zane Smith. He is sitting there. I don't know where they're going to line him back up. So now NASCAR is working on the restart order now. He's shown in third, but they've moved him back into about 7th or 8th. He was on the bottom, and that big pileup happened, so they moved Zane back into 8th, but he came out of there in 3rd.
I think that in the past, NASCAR has expected you to stay in line, right? That's going to be it's not so much what was happening to the car in front of you. They expect you to stay in line when you get to that start-finish line, not to be out of line, not to be in the act of passing. And so I think this could go either way. It'll be a tough situation if they do penalize the 98, but
I just don't think 98. I don't think the 98 changed lanes. You know, he did not change lanes in my eyes. The car in front of him changed lanes. The car behind the 98, he was in the same lane as Riley. So I just think that, you know, that's almost a ball and strike call. You know what I mean? It's a little bit judgment. I think on that one, I don't think there's a penalty warranted.
Well, let's go to our umpires. Let's go to Dale Jarrett, Kyle Petty on the Peacock Pit Box. All right, guys, you guys make the call.
Yeah, I'm not making that call. I didn't see anything wrong. I honestly didn't. I think that everybody's spinning their tires. Everybody's on old tires. No harm, no foul. No harm, no foul for me. But let me say this. I just want to go on record and say this. Ross Chastain on the pole tomorrow. A Colleague car with the 31 car.
Yeah, Justin.
Yeah, and starting on up front in that race tomorrow. If it is anything like this, you got to tune in. I'm just going to stay on the pit box all night.
Yeah, you have to look. Even though that's going to be considered a night race, it's still going to be very hot and slick when they start that race here. So it's only going to be later on that they might find a little bit more grip because the sun has gone down, the track has cooled off some, and some rubber has been laid down. But it's going to be chaos at the beginning of that race, and I'm sure they're all sitting around somewhere watching what happened here today, and we'll try to be better than what this was.
Yeah, it's 5:30. Okay, the sun is going down. It's right on our back, but as far as the grandstands go, so the fans are going to be nice and cold. The drivers may be a little bit hot when it starts, but I don't see, honestly, that the race, even with the temperature being down, as slick as this racetrack appears for these guys, as slick as it appeared during qualifying, we're going to see a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah, and what we have seen is the entire racetrack is very raceable, and that's what the drivers want, where you don't just have to make a pass on one side or the other. You have options as you go. Now, it may be more difficult if somebody has a good car up high to make that pass on the bottom, but there are options, and the drivers are going to enjoy that.
Yeah, listen, I'm ready for the end of this one, guys. I'm ready, so take it over.
Well, we have another shot at overtime here, and Steve, NASCAR not making any calls on this one?
Yeah, we've confirmed with NASCAR that they think the restart was good, and I agree with that. I don't believe that there was an egregious attempt to change lanes or to pass. I think it was a car that was spinning its tires, getting sideways, and it was an avoiding of basically stacking up and wrecking the field. So I think that's a great no call, and now we're going to get to see it and do it all over again right here.
And Jeff caught it. Riley Herbst was going to be aggressive on that restart. He's hungry for a win. He knows he's got good speed in that race car, and he's even in better position for this restart, which could be the final restart of the day.
Does AJ give him the outside, which he seemed to want, or does AJ choose that outside and take it away from him?
AJ picked the inside on the last restart, so I'd assume he's still in control of this race. Feels like that went well, so it'll probably likely go again. We'll have to think about who might line up behind him. Is there a way for them to figure out how to get Hemrick on his bumper for this restart, right? I'm not sure they can understand exactly what Hill might do in terms of where he chooses, but if they can line up teammates, they're in really good shape.
I think from what I saw on that last restart, the biggest concern is, can I get out of turn 2 not wrecked? I mean, half of them drove into turn 1 and were completely out of control with these old tires. So if I'm a driver right now, I'm thinking, okay, what do I have to do to make sure my car stays in the lane that it needs to stay in?
Let's talk about the zone. This last time, brought him in real slow, almost to the end of the zone, definitely induced some wheel spin. If you're AJ on these hot tires, do you try to roll in a little quicker? Do you try to go a little sooner? Were you happy with the last restart? What do you guys think about that?
I don't think you do the same thing twice. You keep people guessing, try to change it up a little bit. Don't allow your competition to try to take advantage of something you did the prior restart. Again, he chooses the bottom, Hemrick to the top, so he doesn't have his teammate. Austin Hill now lining up behind the 10 on the inside in third. But Riley Herbst right here, if he can get a good start, get into turn one side by side with AJ, got to win. He's got a shot at it. I think he's in better position carrying that car on the outside too wide into turn one.
If I'm running 6th, 7th, 8th, I'm picking the bottom. I know I would have originally said the top to just jump up on there, but what I've seen, they're going to run into each other, and the bottom's going to open up, and it's going to potentially provide me a lane to go. I don't think I can win from the 5th or 6th row, so I'm going to take where I think I can miss the wreck.
Keep an eye on tires back there. Kligerman in 6th. Cole Custer on the outside here of the 8 car, Josh Berry. Those are the new tires back here behind all the old tires out front. Those guys are going to be aggressive, trying to get as many spots as they can here at the end.
And remember, we started our storylines off today with 11 different winners in the last 11 races, 3 first-time winners. Riley Herbst has never won an Xfinity Series race, and now he's in a perfect position.
123 starts for Riley in the series.
Overtime for a second time. We'll see how they do. Through the restart zone, and back to green. They stack up on that outside line and now start to fan out. A really good restart for A.J. Allmendinger. Herbst falling back, but look at Allmendinger pulling away from the field. Hemrick to the bottom of the racetrack. Riley Herbst still outside trying to get momentum up. One more time around.
White flag.
Oh, the 11's out of control.
Slid up the racetrack, but he keeps it going straight.
That's because the 21's front bumper was jacking him up down the front straightaway.
Side by side for second. But it's Allmendinger who has dominated here late. Herbst into second, but Allmendinger out of turn 4, grabbing his 17th career win. A.J. Allmendinger wins at Nashville.
Wrecking down the front straightaway to the start-finish line. Big crash. Multiple cars involved there as the team celebrates.
Thank you. Everybody, amazing job. Pit stop. Everybody fixing the car. You want to play with my guitar, baby? Let's go! Hell yeah, boys!
Knowing the trophy at the end of this one, A.J. Allmendinger. That Gibson Les Paul guitar. The 41-year-old from Los Gatos, California. And A.J. Allmendinger moving from the Xfinity Series a year ago to the Cup Series full time. But getting a win on an oval here in Nashville, oh so sweet. AJ and Tara expecting their first child in August. And right back to a fan goes that checkered flag. All smiles. What a performance we saw out of A.J. Allmendinger today. That car's so good on the long run, and toward the end of this race, that's what it was. 74 laps, the longest green flag run today.
Love you, baby! Let's go! I love you!
And Dave's down there with him.
Rick, talk about chaos this afternoon. A lot of cautions. At the end of the day, A.J. Allmendinger, the Cup Series driver, back for a little taste of the NASCAR Xfinity Series, wins this race. How did you do it?
Let me get my breath back here, Dave. I'm kind of old for this. It's hot. Can't believe I got a race tomorrow now. All thanks to all the men and women at College Racing. Got Bailey Zimmerman. He flew in from Chicago this morning. Awesome to have him here, win a race for him. Car was really good. Got caught up in that wreck in that one restart. Thought at least our chance to win was over, but the guys did such a great job of fixing it. Can't thank everybody at Xfinity for putting this show on. ECR, Chevy, all the men and women at College Racing, Nutrient Ag Solutions, Action Industries, Lee Filter, Celsius on our car tomorrow. Just so proud of it. This is one of those iconic trophies you want to win. What a cool way to do it.
Do you play guitar?
I do not. But I got a really good guy here to teach me, so Bailey's going to have to teach me playing the guitar.
We have seen you win so often on the road courses. When you finally won on an oval, it was a big deal. Coming back now and doing this as a part-timer, what's that mean to you?
Anytime you win on an oval, any race. Dave, hell, I don't know I'm going to do this again. You don't know when it's your last win. So, yeah, all these wins are amazing. I love winning on ovals because I know a lot of people doubt me being on an oval. So it's, what a day. I love you. My very pregnant wife is in Nebraska right now with her family doing a baby shower. Love you, Mom and Dad, all my friends and family. What a great time.
Congratulations on the win. Congratulations on the upcoming birth as well.
Life is good.
Life is very good. And Rick, this is the first time I've seen on the front stretch after a race that it just smells like grass down here. Everyone that thankfully got out of their cars at the end of the day. This was an amazing finish to the race.
Yeah, a lot of things happening there after AJ crossed the finish line. Let's take another look at the chaos that ensued.
Like Justin got up the racetrack and got on the side of Redscliff, I believe. Just started packing up behind him. So right here, see, he starts getting up the racetrack and make contact.
Yeah, just ran out of racetrack there. It's really everybody out of control, but watching back to the throttle here. Gasses it up. Just drives right in the door of the 31, and everybody coming from behind. A lot of contact. Parker backwards across the finish line.
Parker ends up having a pretty good day as a guy who was just outside of the playoff picture, coming in that 13th position. All smiles, though, for Colleague Racing as they are back in victory lane with A.J. Allmendinger.